We are rolling into the penultimate day here in the first season of 2021 for Contenders China. In just a few short hours, we will say goodbye to our fourth place team, whoever that ends up being, and hello to one of our grand finalists. Welcome everybody back to the stream. My name is Possible. Alongside me is LaFon. And LaFon, we got some banger matchups for these fine folks today.
Yeah, call it a day indeed. Some fire indeed. There's going to be a quick look at our schedule, obviously, of the day as we get set to see these games underway. Of course, starting off with our two best teams in the region, arguably remaining, Bilibili Gaming and Team Chaser, followed up later on by First Fabulous Fighter and Ultra Prime Academy in the lower bracket. But, Paul, this season has been a roller coaster in terms of placements of a couple of teams, some staying the farther on top, as Bilibili has sort of been the cemented number one team, at least so far in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, we've had mostly 3-0s this bracket, and it's still been a wild ride, right? I mean, up in the upper bracket, we had just clobberings from FFF against Up, and then Billy against First Fabulous Fighter, right? Then a burner between Chaser and T1W, and then T1W, they go down to the lower bracket and get upset in dominant fashion by Up Academy. Now we get to see Up later on today rematch versus FFF.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be an interesting one because, as we get set for our first game, the thing that we have to kind of talk about is that T1W not in the top four is a surprise overall, right? Especially after how they performed in the regular season, cementing, getting a second place finish in one of the knockout brackets. So they are, lower bracket round one, and T1W, a combination that is a little bit cursed, one might describe it as. However, starting off with that, Bilibili Gaming versus Team Chaser. I mean, this match here has the potential to be very, very good, especially when we, consider some changes that are happening to the roster for Team Chaser in the later stages of the season.
I mean, with how tumultuous things get in China, I'm surprised by our predictions. Let's pull them up on the board because I gotta say, I think we're all cowards. All 8 of us. Every single one of us going with the boring expected team to win here. I was a little bit tempted, I'm gonna be honest, LaFon, to put Chaser, but I chickened out at the last second.
I mean, I at least have an excuse, right? Because I'm tied with my with two of my fellow color casters for first place. So I have an excuse at the very least to go for Bilibili. But I have to agree with you. I was thinking, especially after how Chaser played in their last game, they changed some of their, rosters up. Yang Xiaolong making an appearance as Taro Cookie was picked up by the Chengdu Hunters. And, how the roster would kind of perform with Late Young stepping into a more flexible role than he's historically been known for. But at the end of the day, I think Bilibili Gaming has just been a little too strong overall. And as we get a sense, across the board, pretty close season in terms of the predictions going in. And I think as we look at First Fabulous Fighter versus Ultra Prime, it's a rough place to be, right? FFF has proven, at least in the head-to-head, that Up has been sort of the lower end of that matchup when we see those two teams play.
Up definitely looked better yesterday against T1W, but it's hard to pred Up when FFF 3-0'd him in the first round. Let's go into our first match of the day, though, because the winners finals, two teams undefeated in the playoff bracket. As of yet, they've both only played one game, though, so take that with a grain of salt. But these are our two heavy hitters. Bilibili Gaming, like you said, they have won both of our regular season weeks. One pretty dominantly, the other one maybe a bit closer, but now T1W is out, so they don't got to worry about that. And Team Chaser are fighting now not to just say, hey, we're hanging on for second, we're competing with T1W for that spot, but they want to prove that they can be the best team in China.
For sure. Well, we got to take a look at Bilibili's roster because the way they got here has been off the back of some excellent gameplay from Pineapple and Alpha E on the DPS line, right? Followed up, obviously, by the team supporting them. But, the story really for Bilibili Gaming this season has been how dominant Pineapple is on, picks like Tracer, obviously flexing to hit scan, such as Ash and McCree. But I think a revelation this season has been Alpha E to a certain extent because, prior we talked about, Alpha E being an Echo, the sort of the Echo focus. And yet, in the playoff bracket, decides to pull out a Tracer and look stellar on that as well.
The great thing for Bilibili here is when it comes to the DPS, they kind of have an embarrassment of riches. If they need to run double hit scan or hit scan with a Tracer, Alpha Yi can slot that in. The dude was a menace versus First Fabulous Fighter. It was like he didn't have a hitbox at all, could barely be touched, was getting some insane one clips, flanks up the wazoo, and was just a nightmare. And this is where the DPS, we got to zero in on it, right? Because we move over to Team Chaser, and don't get me wrong, their DPS are stacked as well. But one of them's just coming out of retirement, has been their coach for a while before this.
Yeah, this, I mean, and, we can't talk about Team Chaser without talking about the kind of situation they've been in through the regular season. And that was a sort of one focused team, right? Have a Prita play Tracer and then, I guess, hoped when, he gets like a pick or two, which he almost certainly always did, and then kind of follow up as a team. I think if we're looking at Team Chaser from the playoffs at least, that has been a focus that's kind of shifted, right? So you talk about, Yang Xiaolong, but again, another sort of issue or limitation when it comes to Chaser has been that it's been as a Sombra focused player. And when you get to maps that don't really suit the Sombra, then Team Chaser have kind of struggled a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we're on the Owl channel today, so I expect a few fine folks remember Yang Xiaolong's Sombra from when he played on the Chengdu Hunters, and it is a sight to behold, don't get me wrong, but the meta can be a little bit of a rough place, especially depending on the maps we go to. Like, we went to Temple of Anubis versus T1W with Team Chaser, right? And Yang Xiaolong just had no impact on Sombra. So got to be keeping an eye out for that. The rest of this team, obviously phenomenal, and we got to keep our eyes on a Prita. Let's move over to the map set. Let's get moving into the game. We're starting off on Lijiang Tower, which is a very, 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 very good map for Bilibili Gaming.
This map, I think, is probably the best place we can start off with for either of these teams, really. Get a chance to set the pace of play overall. And when you remove the sort of hero limitations out of the equation, then all of a sudden this becomes a contest of team skill. So, yes, for Bilibili Gaming, this is definitely in their wheelhouse. You can have Pineapple on sort of the comfort pick of the Tracer, and fine Tracer he is, one of the best in the region. Have Alpha E on the Echo that he's so strong at. But Chaser also have the ability to put a Prit on a strength character as well and sort of flex around that and kind of play to that strength. So, as I said, having the equation balanced for the hero selection, this should be a great one to open up as we get started on Night Market here on Lijiang Tower.
The gates are opening, and we already see a difference in composition. More of a rush style from Team Chaser. They're going to TP straight on the objective and make Bilibili come to them. But I mean, with Pineapple and Alpha Yi rocking the Tracer and the Echo respectively, this is not unfavorable for Bilibili Gaming. If they find the right timing on an isolated target, they can easily, literally beam that player down. Oh, Prita is just waiting. Nobody has any idea he's here. But, I mean, is he really in the right position for a fight like this? The fight's in Team Chaser's backline. Pineapple is already down, but it doesn't mean things are necessarily going well for Chaser. They lost their main healer, so they have to start getting some eliminations because in an extended fight, they are going to lose out here. They've capped the point, which is a little bit good for them, and Bilibili seem hesitant.
This has been a little bit of a rough play, especially with Kodama going down, right? You don't have the support of the tank, and with 800 be taken away, Team Chaser now are in the driver's seat.
There we go. Yeah, no, they've locked it down. 800 was trying to capitalize before Kyo got back, but couldn't do so, and now Chaser have firm control.
The question that comes now from Bilibili Gaming, especially with having given up that first fight and first cap, right? They lose a lot of percentage here, and things are starting to go from bad to worse for them because Team Chaser can now position aggressively, play around a Prita holding down angles, and deny Pineapple space, right? So you really need Alpha to get in the sky and put pressure down range to give Pineapple the chance to even get to the backline here.
Alpha in a nice spot. Got that pocket of Hyunjae too, so going to be dealing quite a bit of damage. Prita is there though, and you have to keep a Prita in mind at all times, right? Look at those shots. Nice stun too, and Alpha Yi's gone before he can do anything. 800 trying to answer back with this Primal Rage. Knocked one off the side, and Pineapple's good for a second. The Edge is 800's best friend right now, and despite an Amplification Matrix giving a little bit of damage over to Chaser, it feels like only a matter of time before Bilibili snowball this.
How expensive is this going to be for Bilibili at this point, though, right? Because Chaser still has point control, and they're getting trades back. This is doing from bad to worse here for Bilibili.
X-Ray lived so long there. The respawns are here for Chaser. They haven't given up the point yet. Okay, now Bilibili, they've coalesced, not literally, but, as a team, they've come together and managed to mostly take care of Chaser. But this is just such a great stall. And again, X-Ray's back now. The TP carries him there. And with the self-destruct on the Hyunjae, this is not a lost fight. Earth Shatter available. It lays 800 down on the floor as well. X-Ray, he's spent more time with his shield up than anything, but he'll take Alpha Yi with him in the duplicate and everything. Chaser are still holding on to this. and there's nothing that Billy can do.
That was a masterclass of stall from Chaser. Excellent play off the Symmetra's utility of the teleporter there. And Billy Gaming, they thought they had won that fight, Paul, right? I think a lot of people thought that Billy Game had won that fight, but instead, Chaser, you said it, X-Ray staying alive as long as he did, and then getting the trade for a full HP on the duplicated Echo. Superb work there from Chaser, and they start off dominant, 100-0 on map number 1 here.
Man, X-Ray was channeling his inner superhero there. Like another man with the shield once said, sometimes you got to tell the world, no, you move. He just held his shield up for so long, and there was nothing Billy could do. This round ain't going to be bad for him, though. Alpha Yi on the Echo here on Garden's still going to be pretty strong with Fawn.
Yeah, I think one of the telltale differences now is that Pineapple's going to have a little bit more room to work. Doesn't have to deal with the slow from the Symmetra turrets, I should say. So eyes on Pineapple to have a better round this time around.
Yang Xiaolong has moved over to that Sombra that we needed to keep our eye on. Alpha Yi just poking in the damage right now. Nice pick there from Aprita. I mean, that was pretty much the whole team locking that down. Billy doesn't feel like they can do much off that unless somebody finds a miracle pick. Chaser just going to get the cap.
Yeah, and with how closely Chaser are playing together, Pineapple's struggling to get in and get those one clips that he's so capable of. So really denying pressure from the Tracer here, and Chaser doing a great job of taking first control.
Aprita's just bullying people right now. I mean, found those 3 shots on an 800 on the entry, had to back up, and Chaser, they pulled the trigger. They didn't let Billy just lick their wounds. Instead, they're going to rip them apart and send them packing.
Yeah, great reset again. And I mean, we saw Lengsa go down, but ultimately it's a trade that favors Team Chaser, right? Billy Gaming had lost 4 to that point. So this is great team play from Chaser, never isolating themselves, never taking a true 1v1. And you can see Pineapple has given up the flank and has gone over to the Ash, saying, I guess I can't get in for, to create space. Let me just try and play inside my team as the Deadeye comes out.
Oof. And I mean, that's one pick that just completely ruins the fight. Chaser are going to push for a couple more staggers, but at the end of the day, Billy, they can't do anything from this position, and that cost him a Deadeye. Aprita's going to have that back sooner rather than later, and you're still going into the EMP, the Coalescence. Chaser are feeling great right now.
And look how little Chaser are forcing it, right? They don't overcommit. There's the EMP coming out now as he's going to be over the side.
Couldn't quite hit 800, but hit the back line, hit the support that 800 needed to go for the dive he went in on. And, I mean, with the Coalescence, again, Billy, they can't get out the door. This is so dominant from Chaser.
The other thing, too, is that these haven't really been, quote-unquote, team fights that Chaser's kind of been forcing, right? When Billy attempts to engage is when Chaser's already pressed the go button, and now, it's going to be final fight territory, and Chaser have the ultimates to work with.
Oh, goodbye, Aprita. That was nice. Well done there by 800. Self-destruct not going to quite land, and now Chaser, they're starting to run out of those ultimates. The sound barrier's not going to keep Lengsa up despite popping it. And Billy, they've thrown in quite a bit to make this happen, but they will finally get some percentage on Li Zhang.
Critically, though, they don't commit the rally or the bob, obviously, as Pineapple's just building up towards it, while as Team Chaser threw everything at the wall, nothing stuck. And so starting from 0, quite literally, both squads in terms of economy versus the point percentage, as Billy Gaming now have some chance to actually work their percentage up. Aprita, though, forcing 800 out early.
That was a great read there by Aprita and Team Chaser to know that's where 800 would be waiting for that ult charge. Here comes that Bob in from Pineapple, trying to keep Chaser off the zone. Aprita on the flank, though. He gets 2 critical picks. Yeah, he goes down eventually as Alpha Yi answers back. So Billy, they're not out of the running yet. Got to try and find yet another elimination, though. Things starting to get dicey. And Chaser, they have tenuous control of the objective. 800's back, though, and he's got a nano. Onto the back line he goes. Toned out a little bit, though. Billy, they're hanging on to the objective, though, and that's what they really want to do at the end of the day. Chaser don't have the muscle to make this happen right now.
The big difference there in that last fight is that Alpha Yi survived at 1 HP. Meant that he was able to put a lot of pressure onto the tank line, so they weren't able to come in for free. If Alpha Yi had fallen there, that would have been a big difference in the fight. But Chaser now have to reset. They do have critical ultimates coming in. X-Ray's on the Wrecking Ball, so that's not ideal, but you will have the EMP here to try and start this fight off.
Yang Xiaolong's got to wait a little bit for it. Hack on the Irony. Interesting way to start that fight. Beautiful isolation there from Aprita. Who expects that Deadeye angle? Nobody. Certainly not Hyun Jae, I'll tell you that much. Yang Xiaolong in's got the EMP at the rating. Just looking to beam down Kodomo. They know that's the threat. They know that's the most vulnerable target off an EMP. But but Chaser actually failed to connect onto the elimination. Billy stabilized here, and the Coalescence is too little too late. We're up to 90%, and Chaser got nothing left in the tank.
The duplicate Diva there was a big difference maker. I don't think there's any real chance here for Chaser to come back in the fight. One down. Paul, this is going to be a round 3 on the board, it looks like.
Chaser making one last stand. X-Ray back on the Wrecking Ball. Langso tagging in on the objective. That was some nice movement. I got to give him that. Hyunjae's going to punish him, though. Lucio diff coming in full force. At least that's what Hyunjae wants you to think. And Billy, they just have this on lock right now, LaFon. There's no tanks, there's no meat on the objective, especially now that Late Young has been demeched. And, I mean, okay, Aprita, I was about to say, unless he does something crazy. Not crazy enough, I think, here. Yeah, no, that'll be it. We do move on to Control Center for one last round of Lijiang.
Some delayed theatrics, but unfortunately not enough. Obviously, Alpha E becoming a difference maker 2 fights in a row. Surviving, obviously, very low, but then having the chance using the duplicate to become a tank himself. Yes, Kodomo was hacked up by the EMP, but it was a one-man EMP, and with essentially 3 tanks on the field, it was not enough. There was just not enough people to focus on taking down Kodomo via the hack. So Yang Xiaolong not finding the value required from the Sombra there in round number 2. We are going to head to Control Center to try and see who's going to take our first map here in this series in the winners finals. Paul, I mean, you know, back-to-back stages, 1-to-1, looks like we're shaping up to have a good match.
Chaser have been playing this rush style more than Billy, though, so you have to imagine they feel comfortable that Control Center is where we are ending. Both, actually, Alpha Yi and Aprita on the Junkrat here. Fun. Always like to see the J Silly pop up. Kodomo going to pop down, however. Immediately eliminated. And Alpha Yi, I don't know if he's necessarily in the best position, especially when Aprita's hitting shots like that and mine's going flying. Chaser again with the first cap.
A nice clean Junkrat play there. Ahead in the damage, of course, is Aprita now as a result. And with the tank going down, right, with Kodomo not able to really stay alive, you have to kind of reset here. So Pineapple gonna switch over to the McCree, trying for that long-range hit scan pressure. Has been good at it, but needs to find entry space, and the Symmetra here can deny a lot of that.
And I mean, the spam is just brutal right now. Look at 800's health bar. Aprita, Late Young, X-Ray, they're not letting him get past. Bit of an interesting split from Billy right now, actually. They're not really using this amplification matrix to its full effect. Enough of an effect to where X-Ray doesn't feel fine, though. So, you know, who am I to judge, I suppose, at the end of the day? The cap goes to Billy. Chaser, maybe a little bit too timid, not holding on to the objective as hard as they could have there. Yeah,
the one downside to having a significant amount of spam is that you obviously feed the support ultimates over if you don't commit to the final blows, right? And obviously, Irony, we saw doing such a large amount of throughput on the healing, has the amplification matrix ahead of Kyo, meant that it just provides so much more pressure early in the fight. But now Kyo has the amplification matrix of his own, will have the Symmetra wall as well, and you can see Team Chaser are looking to play that aggressively as a result.
Ooh, Gravitic Flux only catches one. Hyunjae going to be vulnerable for a little bit. Not quite able to finish that off, though, and with the spam hitting Alpha Yi, actually the mine there, intentional. He's doing pretty good right now. Aprita's tire is taken out before it can find anything from Billy. And Alpha Yi's still hanging on to his, as this is just complete mess right now. Nice shatter there. Oh, I think he meant to try and pin him into the wall off just a frame, but 800 couldn't quite get away, and now he gets the health pack too, so X-Ray's gonna think twice about that. Meanwhile, the shield has not been protecting Chaser, so X-Ray doesn't have any friends. He eventually gets that pin he was looking for, but Billy is still feeling pretty good, especially as the tire runs on forward and grabs 3 for Alpha Yi.
Critically, the difference maker there, obviously, is that Billy has control of the objective the entire time. You can see Aprita's going to make a switch over now to McCree, as I don't believe that the spam is going to get nearly as much value, especially on the defensive end, right? You aren't able to get in and just get those mines onto people. The shields are too much in the way. So going for the long-range hit scan, which Aprita is good at. Billy, though, they're going to have the window as they commit it here early, and the Deadeye.
Ooh, despite that, Irony's the first one to actually hit the floor. And Aprita punishes Alpha Yi, says, you know what? I'm done with the Junkrat. I'm just going to take you on a hero I'm far more comfortable on. And that just gets Chaser onto the point. They're in for free, basically.
No one really expects a player to stare down the amplification matrix and, win when you're sort of at odds, Pineapple here on the flank. Into this next fight, critically, that was an expensive fight for Bilibili, and Chaser still won it. So, yes, you're at last fight territory, but that's a difficult place to be, operating from behind.
Oh, it's brutal. Oh, Pineapple, he gave himself misinformation there. He heard the spurs jingle jangle from Aprita, but thought he was coming up to the high ground too, so he waited for that. Meanwhile, it was actually a flank to go for the big team fight. And
they know where he is.
Oh, now there's so many people up here. Oh, poor Pineapple, dude.
That is not ideal, to put it mildly, for Bilibili Gaming, because this is now going to trend towards last fight. And you have both the Earthshatter and this Gravitic Flux online. Bilibili, they're going to have to force this fight with the, support ultimate advantage that they have, but they are on the clock. They have to force a fight early if they want a chance here in the remainder of this map.
And you're walking into a Gravitic Flux and an Earthshatter. This is difficult for Bilibili Gaming. Biding their time, looking for an opening right now. There's a Gravitic Flux. That forces him forward. That is beautiful. Sound barrier is out. Stunned! X-Ray can't hit his Earthshatter. 800 comes up better on the main tank diff. Now Chaser are headed for the hills, but the tire isn't going to be able to chase him down. This is anyone's game right now. 99 to 99. Amplification Matrix trying to keep Chaser off of it, and Bilibili, they've reclaimed it. The Gravitic Flux gets late young, and even a sound barrier ain't enough for Chaser at this point. YXL desperately trying to stall, but no, it will not come to fruition. Bilibili Gaming, despite starting this map off 0 to 100, will take Lijiang and remain flawless on that map.
What a start there. What an exclamation point to the round. Disadvantage on the fight. They still come out ahead. Playing the time perfectly there was Bilibili Gaming, right? They wait until the overtime, so the eliminations lasted much longer. The stall potential was not there, and in the process got the flip. So Bilibili Gaming understanding their win condition, understanding, more importantly, their win timing, right? Not forcing the fight too early, not panicking, and we've got truly a sense that Bilibili Gaming are gunning for that grand finals position.
Give me 4 more maps of that, man. Give me 4 more maps of it. Oh, I love watching Chaser and Bilibili play. I do have to keep in mind as well that last time these two teams played, it wasn't really this close, right? Pretty dominant 3-0 for Bilibili Gaming in the second week of the regular season. Now, a lot of that was based on the hero pools. Now, Aprita is certainly looking more comfortable, but man, credit to Bilibili. They don't let anything get the best of them.
I think, that's mentally speaking, that is actually a big deal, especially after the 100 to 0 on the fight that they thought they had won, right? On round number 1, to come back and play as confidently as they did in rounds 2 and 3 is impressive, especially when we saw, it was close to having that second 100 to 0 on Garden, right? On that second stage. So I think for Bilibili Gaming, there's certainly a mental pressure that they've kind of dealt with, which Chaser clearly have to kind of work against, right? Chaser only had to win 1 fight, and this map would have been theirs. But instead, 2 rounds in a row, Bilibili Gaming doing a good job of closing it out. And I think, as we head into map 2 and beyond, you have to think that might come back to haunt Chaser a little bit, especially in terms of sort of the mental aspect of the game.
I think in terms of how close it was, though, I hope Chaser are feeling good about that, right?
Yeah.
Because Control, we saw at the top of the map right there. They were 4-4 on Lijiang compared to the 8-0, now 9-0 from Bilibili Gaming. Chaser have always looked middling on Control maps, right? They look great on some stages and not so great on the others. So I hope they don't carry that sort of, we just needed to win 1 more fight mental into the rest of the series, because it still has a pretty good chance of being close.
Yeah, well, speaking of the rest of the series, we got to look at our map set for map number 2. Something we have to talk about and we haven't really addressed is Yang Xiaolong's hero pool, right? What has he kind of been playing, and how do those maps play to his strengths, which primarily has been the Sombra? We are going to head to Junkertown for our escort map, and, this is an interesting one because does this fit into Team Chaser's kind of repertoire of trying to force the Sombra? I think you can definitely make it work on, the longer sight lines, having the Sombra stage, get into position to farm the EMP. That could be a difference maker here. Or will, YXL bring out something totally different and try and surprise both us and Bilibili Gaming?
Starting out defensively, I think definitely helps YXL, right?
Yeah.
Because you can play more that counter style, especially if Billy lock in what they're hovering over right now, which I think they will, or at least something close to it. You can look more so to negate players like Alpha Yi or Kodomo. The EMP is a huge factor against a composition like that, so I think this certainly will work well. And a Prita on anything is good, but a Prita on the Widowmaker, that has me shaking in my boots, Lafon. I would not want to go up against a one.
And as it were, as we see Pineapple open up on the Widow. If anyone can duel a Prita, it is Pineapple.
That is true.
And we are going to see if he can do just that, as Billy kind of set up here for the first fight.
I mean, last year, we were talking about Pineapple as one of the few hit scans in China who could duel Dia, right? So, definitely keeping your eye on that. Can't keep our eyes on Alpha Yi anymore, though. He's getting sent back pretty early, and Kodomo's not having too much fun either. That's an early immortality field. Lei Young is chunking some damage. Nice flank. Or actually, this is Pineapple. I thought that was a Prita for a second. I thought he'd gone for the big moves there, but either way, Pineapple just watching the flank, making sure that Prita wasn't doing that. And Chaser have just been systematically decimated in this first fight.
Curiously, Lei Young walked into the immortality field, I think expecting to be able to take it out and Irony as a result. But instead, Kodomo punishes, and that just opens up the floodgates for the DPS of Billy to get a little bit more space, specifically Alpha Yi. We can see him setting up here on the flank as well.
And this was the map where Alpha Yi against FFF was another animal entirely. He knows where a Prita is instantly! There's nothing a Prita can do there! And then he's back in the fight, getting another kill on Kyo. This is a Tracer player coming online. This is terrifying, Lafon, because this is now the second time we've seen Alpha Yi put these performances up on Junkertown, and I don't think it's going anywhere.
I have to agree there. The other thing, too, right, is that it's even more scary for this is that even if, for some strange reason you need that projectile player, Alpha Yi can step into that, and you still have to deal with a Tracer who's as strong or even stronger than, Alpha Yi is. And yes, Pineapple didn't do so hot on map number 1 on the Tracer, but that is still in the back pocket.
Gravitic Flux at the ready for Kodomo. Surprised he doesn't pull the trigger as they're coming out that choke point, but just wants to wait until Billy feel more comfortable, or maybe he won't even need it, honestly. Lei Young's already gone. X-Ray on the Wrecking Ball doesn't really synergize with the rest of this team too much. I mean, looking at Chaser's composition right now, Lafon, this is just kind of rough to get through any of these choke points on Junkertown.
For sure. The one thing that we are going to have to see, though, is the Gravitic Flux from Kodomo is going to be tough because he has a lot that can kind of stun him out of it. We're going to see the rally here as Kodomo,
Kodomo, maybe a little bit too feisty there, buddy. I'm going to be honest with you. He's back to his team. He survives it, though, and with rallies out on both sides, everyone's hanging around for a while. Maybe not 800, though. Burned immediately after that EMP comes out, and finally, Chaser find their opening. They're going to be able to stabilize a bit.
Yeah, that's a brilliant EMP from Yang Xiaolong. Just on the periphery of anybody who's even close to him. So even though it's it looked so close to missing, but gets 4 instead, and not even close to any stuns to deny it. That is a big win, especially denying the Supercharger from 800, who melted, as you saw. So now this next fight opening up, Lei Young is going to have a much easier time of setting up with the Gravitic Flux. And, I mean, this fight's now going to be delayed even as a result of Kyo just taking out Alpha Yi off, I believe, a stun from Lengsa.
I mean, the good news for Billy is that it doesn't really affect how the movement of their pack works too much, right? The 5 players that are sticking together. It just means they kind of have to wait before committing to this fight because they don't have Alpha Yi on that flank. But he's going to be back. Gravitic Flux beautifully placed, but it only catches 1. It keeps the rest inside the doors, though. And Alpha Yi's gone again. Aprita's found that one coming into the backline, is now fully prepared for Alpha Yi's playstyle, it seems. And Billy just have to hit reverse again.
Credit to Lengsa 2 fights in a row, because getting the assist on the Tracer means that Lengsa is marking Alpha Yi specifically.
You had to wait for that. You had to see if...
yeah, I had to wait. Maybe some theatrics there for sure.
Maybe go for too ambitious of a play, but nah, instead he sets this up, and that's just more time off the clock.
Yeah, and you can see now. Look at how Alpha Yi is trying to take the flanks, and I think a lot of what's going to find success for Billy Gaming on this map has been historically Alpha Yi getting into the back line, start putting the flank pressure on. But you can see Lengsa's marking, Aprita's marking, denying Alpha Yi that space to operate, and then it becomes a 5v5 a lot of the time, and with the defensive advantage of the high ground that Team Chaser has, it's making Billy have to work for whatever space they get, and so far, it's not worked out particularly well.
And I mean, you also have YXL on the Sombra, right? So Invisible likely going to be looking for a lot of those same flank angles that Alpha Yi is. That's great information scouting. Has the EMP available, so just waiting on the high ground for Bilibili to show their faces. This is going to be a rough fight for Bilibili if they don't see this EMP coming. And there it is. It hits 3 players immediately. Minefield is out as well from Team Chaser. Pineapple the only one answering right now. Aprita stopping Kodomo from actually finishing that Gravitic Flux, if I'm not mistaken. Now the rally going for Chaser. This has become very much a scrap. Aprita's going to try and stabilize with the Dead Eye and will do so beautifully. And Bilibili, we're down to 1 minute and 20 seconds, and they're sent packing yet again.
Yeah, something I highlighted earlier in the map is just how many tools Team Chaser have at dealing with Kodomo's Gravitic Flux, right? The flashbang, the hack, obviously the accretion from Late Young if that's necessary. And you got to be careful because if Langsa gets in close, the shield bash can do surprising amount of work against the Sigma. So Kodomo has the ultimate there is something that you have to kind of remove from the economic discussion of the ultimate utility. And when you have to operate with only 4 ultimates, it becomes a big struggle for Bilibili Gaming. And obviously the Sombra just denying the amplification matrix as well from Irony is another reason that last fight went so heavily for Chaser. Now, in this last stage of the fight, though, Alpha, you're going to have to pick up some heroics. The Supercharger is available here on the back, as well as the survivability of the Rally, Paul. So you can see them opening up with the Supercharger initially.
Yeah, Supercharger Rally. I mean, Bilibili just want to force Team Chaser into a fight, but look at the positioning. Chaser just backpedaling, knowing, hey, you have the advantage right now. We don't want to deal with that. We've got some time. We can get a Gravitic Flux and manage to take down Kodomo. Now the shielding is far less for Bilibili Gaming. They have to be careful how they actually approach this. We're down to 10 seconds. They don't have time to be careful, Lafon. They got to just rush out here, and Chaser playing literal gatekeeper right now. You can barely touch the payload from that room. 800 dipping his toes on. Great peel, too, from Late Young there to keep Kyo alive. Alpha Yi has been completely shut down, neutralized entirely. Chaser have found their footing. It looks like they're going to be able to shut this down. Still a lot of players here for Bilibili Gaming, so I didn't want to count any chickens. They haven't hatched yet. Pineapple desperately trying to get his ult up. There's so many hit markers, but his whole team's dead. And that is Bilibili held shy of the second objective.
That has been a real read in terms of what Bilibili Gaming's win conditions are by Team Chaser here. I've seen, now this is back-to-back amplification matrices that got 0 value. First from the EMP from Yang Xiaolong, second from the minefield from X-Ray, placing the mines directly on the amplification matrix area of effect so people couldn't shoot through it. You know, Team Chaser has been identifying which vectors Bilibili wants to attack by and has systemically removed them, right? We saw Alpha Yi there get marked by Yang Xiaolong. Previously, it was Aprita, and then on top of that was Langsa as well. And then the peel, we saw that come in too. So Team Chaser has done a great job of seeing where Bilibili are attacking from and then denying it.
And that has to be one of the only rounds this season, at least one of the only ones coming to memory, where we can say that a team shut down, also phenomenal, especially, you know, Pineapple, but how many times can we actually say that a team effectively stopped him from just running rampant? That feels like one of maybe 2 rounds in all of this season.
Yeah, it really is a testament to how Chaser has evolved here in the playoffs, I think, because they have made themselves a genuine threat to deal with, where before, as we said, it was basically just the Aprita show. Now we're seeing great team play from the rest of Chaser as a result. Yang Xiaolong on the Torbjorn. So
it is a pick that he showed on Monday when Chaser played versus T1W.
This makes things a lot more difficult for Alpha Yi yet again, right? You can't just pressure blindly into the back line because you have to deal with the turret as well. And that makes Aprita so much safer. He can go for these grapple shots as opposed to having to use it to escape.
Now just a brawl toward this choke point, as we'd expect from a Junkertown push with double shield in the meta. Aprita's going to go down, though. Alpha Yi, not worried about that turret. Just going to get all the way around and find Aprita in that backline. And I mean, that stalls Chaser unless they can muscle their way through the middle of this map here. Actually, Bilibili, the one's muscling through right now, just keeping Chaser at bay.
And, you know, that's actually going to mean that Aprita switches over to the McCree. They're trying to play this brawl instead. And Pineapple says, all right, I've got the range advantage, finds 2, and this fight's over.
And this is one of the things we love about Billy Gaming, right? Even when the composition is built to counter Alpha Yi. I mean, you've got 4 characters on Chaser's comp that are literally built to counter Alpha Yi. Pineapple still does work, but now he's down. So who's going to come up with the goods? Kodomo trying to be the answer. Has to fall off, though, and the Gravitic Flux didn't hit what he wanted. Coming back to his team now, but 3 in the Gravitic Flux come out the other direction from Late Young, really showing up and getting Chaser through that choke.
And this is now going to be Billy actually committing a couple of resources there, the Amplification Matrix and the Rally, to a fight that they had lost members, right? So this is going to now be, I think, first point captured, and Billy are making a couple of changes. We're seeing the Genji here from Alpha E.
Oh, brother. I always get nervous when I see a Genji Lafon. It doesn't matter who it is, in what region, I always get nervous when I see a modern-day Genji. Especially when it's not supported by an Ana, right? So you're not going to have a Blade
or a
any of
Mercy.
those engagements. There's no Mercy either. I mean, who dives in with Alpha Yi is a question I am genuinely curious about. Ooh. Oh, couldn't quite finish it off. Pineapple just with that one headshot on a Yang Xiaolong. Late Young doing a good job to body block the rest of that.
So the one thing here that Alpha Yi can actually do is that he can take advantage of when Pineapple hits a headshot onto a tank. And on top of that, because he has high ground, he can actually rotate much more easily than the rest of his squad, providing alternate avenues of pressure. So that's where this Genji actually comes in handy.
Speaking of an alternate avenue, Aprita, how would you get back here, buddy? I mean, that's a massive annoyance for Billy. They can't even stand on the high ground anymore. The Molten Core is keeping them off. Chaser wiped the floor with them.
The cart continues to move as a result. Oh, ooh. I mean, Genji's flashy, but sometimes that happens. You're like calling Genji. Heading into this next fight, though, I mean, Billy Gaming now have this full height control. And I don't know. Can anyone touch?
Pineapple has to grapple out onto the point here.
Oh, and he gets bashed.
Not chance to. Stunned, eliminated, boom. That's it. Map done. Chaser, 1-1.
Yeah, that was such an anticlimactic last fight, but it makes sense. Like, you have high ground control. The cart does not even have to make it. We can see Chaser, after that map win, just sort of sitting there and be like, yeah, that was map in our favor. So we are 1-1 here after 2. And I think the thing that's most impressive to me about Chaser is that that was a dominant win on Junkertown, right? That did not feel close in a couple, especially in the grand scale of fights. Never mind like the map. The map didn't feel close, but some of the fights also genuinely felt one-sided to an extent that was surprising considering map number 1.
I mean, there was one fight on the first round where Alpha Yi, we were worried he was going to run away with it. And there was one fight on the second round where Pineapple popped off and got 3 headshots. But outside of that, it seems like Chaser really had a good read on Billy for this map. Despite the lack of footage, they would have seen it against FFF when Billy played them on Monday and said, yeah, we can totally punish this. We know what they're trying to do. We know where they're trying to hold. We're just going to annihilate them there. It's a great selection, and now we're tied up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a couple of things that come out here, right? Because it's number one is that Yang Xiaolong has been sort of the question mark. You can define it as a question mark. You can define it as an X factor as well for Team Chaser, right? Mm-hmm. If Yang Xiaolong performs well on the characters he's selected, it makes things a lot more difficult for the other team because no one plays like Chaser does, you know? This is not a case of like Team Chaser doing something strange and unwieldy out of, just because they have nothing else to do, through the regular season. But again, Yang Xiaolong is making an appearance for the playoffs for the first time, and I think this is throwing genuinely the Billy off, especially as we've seen there on Junkertown.
Well, we're going to continue this series. Chaser already probably pretty happy that it's closer than the last time they fought Billy. Still at least 2 more maps to go. Still hoping for that map 5 too. So we're going to go to a quick break, folks, but stick around because we'll be back lickety split. Welcome back, everybody. We're in the winners finals here in Contenders, China for our playoffs. And if you're just joining us, map 1, Lijiang, was a very contested fight between Team Chaser and Billy Gaming. Junkertown, not so much though. LaFawn, Chaser really seemed to have the download.
Yeah, so this has been a fire match so far, and I mean, speaking of fire, it was the Molten Core that kind of set up the win condition for Team Chaser on Junkertown's attack. Right, they used the Torbjorn to great effect, and something we've talked about this series has been how's the DPS going to match up in this situation, and a lot of the time it has come down to can Alpha Yi and can Alpha Yi really step up in a big way, and I think specifically with Junkertown, Team Chaser had the answer, and the answer to it was no, Alpha Yi, you cannot even really play the game. So that's going to be, I think, a question mark as we go for the rest of the series. Can Alpha Yi carve that space out? And I mean, what better way to do that as we get a quick look at our map set here for the next map is, hey, go to a map where Team Chaser did not look good as we take a look. Temple of Anubis is next. Full held in their last match here on this map.
Yeah, T1W completely shut out Team Chaser. It was the first time that T1W ever beat Team Chaser on an assault type map. So this is a very smart and a very easy read for Billy Gaming. There has been 2 days since we last saw Chaser here, so maybe they've found some workarounds. Maybe they've made some adjustments to make this more competitive. Outside of that one game against T1W rather, they've been phenomenal on this map this season.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to, though, is that in the rest of the season, Chaser did not have to force the Sombra look, right? And on Temple of Anubis, while Sombra has historically been very good here, the issue here comes down to the fact that now there's way more ways to prevent Sombra from getting into position to get those hacks off, right? You have so much more scouting capability with the Echo. You can put pressure on the front line while Sombra sets up. And so you deny, even the opportunity to attack. So as the gates open up, we're going to see, look how much damage Alpha Yi is pumping into the tanks already.
Yang Xiaolong struggled too against T1W to get hacks on their Echo player.
Oh my god.
Alpha Yi, if he is left unchecked, it is going to be devastating. Oh, Yang Xiaolong slept. Everybody diving in to either save or kill YXL. But it's Late Young who hits the floor first. Chaser not off to a great start. Aprita not having fun either, trying to face check Alpha Yi, but stuck in the room. Billy Gaming, they're just slow and steady, decimating Team Chaser, and there's nothing Chaser can do to stop this.
Yeah, that sleep was a brilliant play from Irony. Arguably, and I mean, the thing is, either you take out Yang Xiaolong, which would be disastrous. Arguably worse, though, is it puts the rest of Team Chaser in a desperate position trying to save YXL, and that meant that, now Late Young all of a sudden is vulnerable. So for Team Chaser, it was just a lose-lose situation, and the loss ends up being point number 1. So as they look now to point 2, is this going to be a snowball potential? Duplicate is available, as Pineapple is going to switch over to the Tracer as well. So, I mean, Billy now on basically across-the-board comfort picks.
Nano out, X-Ray into the back line, zoning down Irony. Hey, you lost us the last fight. I'm trying to take you out early this time, but the focus is too strong from Billy. They're not letting that dive go unpunished. Late Young will again be the one to fall first in this fight. Now, BLG, 800's the one into the back line. They're slowly gaining control of the objective. Front lines are fighting back lines, but Alpha Yi's having a fun time, whereas not so much is the case for X-Ray right now and the rest. X-Ray's just hiding under here, hoping to get that health pack. But as soon as he tries to go up and contest the point, he will die, and wow. That was quite the attack from Billy.
Team Chaser were trying to go for they can't snowball if you force the first fight and try and win it out, right? Unfortunately, what that meant is that Team Chaser had to go beyond the threshold of security of the choke points, right? Especially with Pineapple being the delayed pick as he switched over from the Widow to the Tracer. It meant that Billy weren't actually going for that first fight to, force the snowball. So an unlucky read from Chaser put themselves in a bad position.
I mean,
and Billy kind of capitalized on it almost by accident. Yes, they have ult economy, but I don't think they meant to take the fight where they did.
It seemed haphazard too, right? Because X-Ray went in with the nano, right? That's what you want to happen. But Late Young, Aprita, and Yang Xiaolong were not prepared to dive in and help him out, right? When we had X-Ray's POV, he was alone on that back line. Late Young was just joining him. Right as X-Ray leaves, Late Young is out the door, and he's like, oh, wait, where'd everybody go? And then Billy's like, we're still here. Don't worry. We'll take you out of mech and then just win the fight from there.
Yeah.
And things get even more difficult now for Team Chaser because attack is where they really struggled on Monday. This is not going to be an easy map. We might just find ourselves moving on to map 4 here in 4 minutes, LaFon.
Yeah, I mean, calling what Team Chaser did an attack on Temple of Anubis last time is very generous. So they're hoping for something. I mean, listen, you don't even get 33% of the point. I'm allowed to say that. Again, Alpha E with the early spam, and you know it's so difficult for tanks because you have to necessitates rather taking damage on the entry, especially with how aggressively Alpha E is playing, and there isn't really a true shutdown onto the Echo here from the attacker's perspective, right? You're hoping just for a clean dive instead.
Yeah, this was the same problem that Chaser had versus T1W, right? Alpha E is getting the same leisurely play that T1W had on Monday. He's already up to 80% on his duplicate. Chaser haven't walked through the first archway yet. They've been spammed so heavily.
And at this point,
at least somewhat set up now, but here comes a dive in from 800, and he's just bullying them right now. There's nothing that Chaser feel like they can do. They finally get a stun on 800. Can't quite take him down, but they'll trade YXL. X-Ray into the back. Finds the Mercy. That's a vulnerable target. Beautiful bubble from Kodomo, keeping Hyunjae alive, though.
Big problem is now he still has to jump out, right? Because there's no alternate pressure angles. Aprita has to dash away as well. Recall is spotted. And with him taken down, you know, now Billy are in control. I don't think this fight's going to be traded out.
I mean, Aprita's gone. What can this composition do without Aprita or an EMP? Neither one is anywhere near. And look how much damage X-Ray takes. He goes in, he barely gets a second before he has to jump back out, and that just leaves Chaser so vulnerable all over the board.
The other thing, too, is that at no point has Team Chaser really been in these fights, and they've wasted 2 minutes. So I think the thing you have to kind of decide now if you're Team Chaser is if you're not going to force a fight with speed based off the Sombra and the Tracer, then what you have to kind of do is play Aprita on the hit scan to deny Alpha E space in the sky, right? And then just have the EMP farm happen as a sort of tertiary objective. Because right now, Chaser does not have a win condition other than Yang Xiaolong get EMP and then we go. And with how slowly that's happening, you only get one fight. And Temple of Anubis has become a sore spot, it seems like, for Chaser at this point.
And, I mean, Chaser, they have a lot for this fight already. Nano in, creating quite a bit of space. Pineapple feeling the pressure. Alpha E's not letting the rest of Chaser get to the objective, though. That duplicate, even though he doesn't have high charge, it's enough of a threat up on that high ground. Finally, Pineapple will fall, and 800 finds himself in a room that he can't really get out of very easily. Finally makes his way out. But, I mean, onto Aprita, that's not a target he can find, and down to 7 health? Complete. Okay. I was going to say, please finish him off. Now, Chaser, they have a strong advantage. Are they really going to EMP? Well, I mean, you have to close out the fight at this point, but they're going to wish they had that for second.
Yeah, now the map commentary goes not to, you know, can they capture first point with the utility they have? It's, well, you used everything, so you better win the first point. And now how do you work on time bank for second?
Nice. Oh.
They use grab.
Is that the grab?
And they're,
I mean, Hyunjae's up there too. Okay, they get 2 players out of it. That makes it worthwhile. Don't know if that second pick was necessarily intentional, but we'll take what we can get for Chaser at this point.
Oh, the
X-Ray
sleep.
slept in the back line too. The rest of Chaser being kept out by the Bob. Nice stick there from Aprita. Keeps Chaser in this fight, but they've lost their main tank. Alpha Yee's back. This isn't really an entry.
Yeah, it was a scrappy fight outside the objective, and that, you know, the respawn timers on this first attack that you get on second, right? The respawn is so quick that it really didn't matter. It's just a tough place to be. And now you start to work with the time bank. You know, that's an issue that Chaser has to look at.
Nice work there from
Big bubble
from 800 and Kodomo, but Kodomo actually gets clobbered afterwards. Chaser have waddled their way onto the objective, and they've gotten their first kick in the blink of an eye, actually. Alpha E does have this duplicate online. He'll grab the Zarya and try and work up to a grab. Nice peel there, too. Gets him some charge and saves his support. Ooh, might not have this duplicate much longer if he's not careful, though. Grab online, chucking it on Kyo. Gotta finish off that pick, though. Late Young with the bubble nearly denied that one. We've yet to get a second tick, but Chaser are going to commit the rally to try and make it happen. Yet another up top grab. This one works beautifully, though. No doubts about that one from Late Young. Chaser are finally in control.
They are going to get 2. No, Leo goes down.
They got it.
But they got it. Okay.
It's okay.
That was so close. That was a
Like
fraction of a second.
We go again.
We go again. That was a fraction of a second from just crushing Chaser's hopes. They still have a time bank disadvantage of 50+%. 2 minutes to 4:48. The disaster here comes to the fact that with how long it took to take point
longer
A.
than 2 minutes first time, exactly.
It took 3 minutes to get their capture done. So, you know, either Chaser has to reapproach their attack options, or they just have to play faster. And one is certainly a lot easier than the other.
Well,
They're just going to go for the same thing.
yeah, no reapproach, no decision differences or changes in terms of composition at the very least for either of our teams. And I mean, Yang Xiaolong, I feel for you, right? Like, this is not an easy Sombra map. So the fact that Chaser want the Sombra here is what is making it difficult for Yang Xiaolong.
Yeah.
But we need an EMP pre 2 minutes.
I think the thing here, too, has to be that, you know, Billy Gaming, if you're going to face tank the damage that Alpha Yi, if Chaser are going to face tank the damage that Alpha Yi is doing, then you need to build the first fight Nano has to happen in around 45 seconds, right? It can't be this minute plus opportunity. And if you're not going to do that, then this comp honestly falls apart. You can see YXL, oh god, forced to recall almost immediately.
Great bit of scouting there from Billy Gaming. Was definitely going to try and go for an aggressive hack. Now doesn't have the opportunity to do so. And Billy, they're just holding strong on this archway. A couple players sneaking past them, but it's not something that Chaser can make advantage of. We've burned 30 seconds off the clock. We're getting close to that nano that you were asking for, though, Lafon.
They're not going to be able to ready to go. It's 40 seconds. Still doesn't have it.
Gonna have it right here, and you have to imagine they're just gonna pull the trigger on this one immediately.
Oh, big start.
Down. Opening has suddenly been found here. There goes 800 into the back. Hyunjae, a bubble, just barely protecting him. Good peel there from Kodomo, but it doesn't stop the fact that Chaser are on the forward march. They've made their way onto the objective now. At the very least, they'll probably get a tick here. Prita rather, up on the high ground, contesting that back line. Ooh, Pineapple can't quite find the angle there. Trying to shut down YXL before an EMP is an issue, and will do so beautifully. Billy are back, Lafon and Chaser. They haven't made enough happen.
And that is going to be the one tick taken, so at least they have a win condition established, because looking at the timer on the clock and looking at the ultimates that Chaser has, they needed this EMP to be available, and it just isn't. You have the duplicate, you have the Valkyrie available, as well as the Bob, and now Billy are sitting and looking at this and saying, I mean, we can play aggressively because we have the utility to do so. With a Prita down, it's disaster territory here.
And Billy, they're not letting Team Chasers see the objective. They're taking the fight all the way to the attacking team. Alpha Yi, instant primal off that duplicate. Will get burned out of it with a solo grab, but is anyone even on the point? No. Chaser, they get 40.5%.
But if this is right, because you start off with 4 minutes to take the first full point. You have more than that to take just under half.
Certainly.
It's the composition that Chaser's running, right? They necessitate only a couple of fights. Their comp is based around sort of that EMP timing, right? You have your first sort of aggressive spike on the nano boost with how much damage the tanks take. Then you have your second, or supposedly you're supposed to have your second with the EMP. But YXL's just been taking way too long to generate them on Temple of Anubis.
Yeah.
And that means that you only ever have one true power spike, especially when the clock's not in your favor, right? With 2 minutes, a 2-minute EMP does not happen. That's just... You can't have that happen if you're Chaser.
And I don't want to fault YXL too much for that, because there was no opportunity for him to get around and start farming those EMPs, right? With how far forward Billy were playing, how much peel, he couldn't find hacks, he couldn't find openings. Billy were shutting those options down beautifully. And now all they have to do is get past the bunker that Team Chaser have set up on this high ground.
Yeah, Pineapple going to switch over to the Tracer here, try and get on the flank, so... It's an adjustment from Chaser here, which has been unique on their Temple of Anubis looks, but Billy seem to have an understanding of how they want to approach this. They get Alpha E on the high ground as well and get rid of the turret, so that crossfire is not there, and now Pineapple can get in pretty much for free.
Nice stun, but it's not something that Chaser were able to fully capitalize off of.
Ooh, nice.
A Preda? All right, going under him. The res comes through, but Yunjae ain't around to see it through. And I mean, 800 is just completely isolated here. That was a good first fight from Team Chaser.
And this is, I think, the first time that Alpha E has really not gotten away with just spamming damage in, right? On Temple of Anubis. So a little bit better now for Chaser. They take that first minute off the clock, and they extend that fight. That could easily have been with the Alpha E going down. That could have taken a lot shorter of a fight. So credit to Team Chaser for making that extend.
And if they can keep shutting down Alpha Yi, I mean, that was what won them Junkertown, right? Was shutting down Alpha Yi consistently.
The problem here, right, is that Billy just need to farm 6 and go.
Yeah. And I mean, Alpha Yi's got the nano on him now. Is getting zoned out a little bit there. And Prida keeping on him. Prida again on a flank. This guy gets to the wildest angles on McCree, and it seems to be working pretty dang well. YXL on the objective, just keeping that first tick from going over as Pineapple was going for a back cap. Now Billy, they're in a pretty awkward spot, LaFon. They're trapped behind Chaser.
They are. I mean, Lengths is dead. Oh, what is happening here?
Oh,
What?
Oh, Chaser, they've overpushed. Oh, they smelled blood in the water, but it was only their own. Oh, tragic. They tried to isolate those few members, but it turned into a collapse, almost a pincer movement. And Billy wrap it up.
Big oof, I think. is
Take the words right out of my mouth, LaFon.
Yeah, that's what Chaser said. Right as they saw that amplification matrix go out and just the entirety of Billy there.
I could almost hear the record scratch.
Yep.
Ah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got into this situation, right?
Yeah.
Rough stuff for Chaser.
Yeah. I mean,
They're still in this though.
They're
Let's
still
be
in this.
honest.
A couple of things come to mind, right? And I was hypercritical of Team Chaser in the map specifically, but a couple of things to note. One, if you're going to have struggles in this map and it was identified, the loser pick system means that obviously Billy are going to take you there. So it's a rough place to be in terms of stylistic. You're just hoping that Billy doesn't quite understand how the Sombra works and kind of work around that. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So you say GG, go next, you go to the next map and sort of, if you're Chaser, just kind of throw it out. You expected that to be the case anyway. And so from a more holistic approach in terms of the understanding of of the series, if the question now becomes what map is good for Sombra, so YXL becomes a threat again, because clearly Temple of Anubis just isn't their place right now.
Or don't even go to a Sombra map, right? I mean, the Torbjorn hasn't been a bad look for Team Chaser on a lot of their defenses. When they played T1W on Monday, after losing Temple of Anubis in a more dominant fashion than this, admittedly, they went to Hollywood, and it looked pretty trivial for them to push us to that map 5 to win Hollywood off the back of something like the Torbjorn on the defense, right? So I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility whatsoever.
I want to take a step back though, because talking about Team Chaser, we have to highlight that Billy has done a phenomenal job of identifying who, especially after Junkertown where Alpha E was struggling. I think to identify how to best give Alpha E the potential to perform. And yes, a player is as good players will perform, but you have to also support them on their way to doing so. And credit to Billy Gaming for settling down as a squad and giving Alpha E the resources he needed to actually put in that performance, especially after how, as a solo style on Junkertown just straight up didn't work. They're like, all right, back to pocketing the Echo. Let's get things going. And it really, Billy showing that they have that adaptability here to be that championship roster.
And that's what you love about these two teams, right? About the best teams in China. It's not just we will face roll our style into the other team and hope that they don't have a counter strategy. It is constant adaptation and manipulation of the tactics on map from map to map, right?
Yeah.
And now we move on to our fourth map of the series where Chaser are going to try and push us further. Hollywood is, in fact, going to be the play.
So, I mean, this means that Billy Gaming are at match point. They have to get the three wins in terms of maps. But Hollywood, I mean, this is a mirror of how Chaser played up against T1W in their previous match. But the question here is now, obviously, YXL has a little bit more space to work on the Sombra. You know, we said that on Monday. It continues to be true. He has more avenues to kind of get into the backline, farm the EMP without requiring his team to set him up. And so for Chaser, I think this is going to be more business as usual in terms of their composition. Clearly, the question is, does Billy respond by scouting, YXL more closely here, where now that YXL has more space to work?
Yeah, I was just jamming out to the music there. I like this.
It's good.
This is nice. Can we?
I like the
somebody figure
backdrop
out what that song is. I want that on my Spotify playlist.
I like the
Hollywood theme remix. Thank you, producer. We have an instant figured out. Oh,
double blink, triple blink into recall with the bubble. Nice.
got 0 alt charge out of that though.
Oh,
it's 2.
Uh-oh.
No, it's okay. It's okay. They're far enough back. I was worried that was going to be an instant follow-up. Aprita was going to just go in and clobber Alpha Yi. Oh, and now we get that Tracer 1v1. It's been eluding us just barely between Aprita and Alpha Yi. Of course, it's not going to matter at the start of this fight. 800's already gone, and that does not bode well for the defense.
But speaking of that was off the back of the hack from YXL, so already making his presence known on the Sombra here.
Aprita spotted Pineapple. Nice dive there, and while it has given him some position on the objective, still works out pretty well. X-Ray up onto the high ground, not getting the slam he was hoping for, and 800's back. X-Ray stunned. That's not a great spot for a low health Wrecking Ball. He'll get out, but that leaves an opening for Billy to dive on in and clean this up.
Yeah, great response and recovery from Billy Gaming as they kind of get set. That was something that Team Chaser have kind of been doing here on their offense, and doesn't net them percentage. It does give them some space in terms of like the fight. Is that they're playing this 3-man dive. Pineapple is now, and as a response to that, rather than the Ash, giving them a Kree that has more survivability and obviously the stun. YXL, Aprita, and X-Ray have been playing as this 3-man group and trying to chase down and bully one target at a time. They just, again, need to do it more quickly so they have some space to do it.
YXL on a nice flank back here into the back line. Has prioritized some hacks onto the Ana here, so I'm expecting a dive up into the high ground, up into the cafe, and yep, there it goes. Pineapple's actually the target, though. YXL trades his life for that one, too. Almost got the grab online, and Late Young's not having too fun of a time. There's that grab going forward. Gotta clean this up. Billy, it's a little bit of a struggle, but Kodomo's doing his best to lock this down. Not positionally ideal, but I mean, there's just enough support to where it doesn't matter. He had the nano and everything. Exactly.
Yeah, the nano is I mean, survivability is one thing at all, but farming up, nice charge here for the Ana. Irony keeping Kodomo alive, so Kodomo says, here's your next one. Chaser now are getting to that point where the EMP is coming online. It's been slow going though. This has been 2 minutes and 15 seconds plus. It still doesn't have the EMP. They just need to be generated faster, but Billy doing a great job of spacing out so Yang Xiaolong can't actually farm.
Ooh, this is a nice spot from Pineapple too. He can avoid the EMP, threaten the Deadeye if he can get it up in time. There's that EMP going out. It didn't hit pretty much squat though. A little bit rough there for Chaser, and the Nano went on to X-Ray, I believe, to save him. So the T's not really bearing fangs despite that. Chaser do get a tick onto the objective. Nice one clip there from Aprita. That's the Tracer play we've been waiting for. Up onto the high ground. Pulse bomb out. Can't quite get it done though. Irony shuts him down. And Chaser, they're running out of options. There goes a grab yet again for Kodomo and catches literally everyone left. Beautiful cleanup, and Billy holds strong.
Still not over and done yet as Lei Young and Yang Xiaolong trade away, but the staying power just isn't there, especially with the DMAC. And now Chaser are going to have to retreat. Aprita did not get the memo. Alpha Yi will get the cleanup. And that's just shy of 2 ticks. And now you're in the last fight. 30 seconds remaining. You still don't have the objective. And unfortunately, don't have much to work with either. You will have the pressure of the mines to perhaps apply it to the objective and try and force the fight there. But, I mean, you need... running out of time here is a big issue for Chaser.
The mines need to isolate somebody critical for this fight to really work. And a Nano at the ready. 800's diving into the back line. Alpha Yi's there to support too. Kyo feeling so much pressure, and both the supports are down. Team Chaser, they'd need a miracle at this point to actually get this objective capped. And a miracle ain't coming through. Instead, it will be a full hold. Just shy of 2 ticks taken for Chaser.
To add insult to injury there, Yang Xiaolong, as he's activating the EMP, does not even have it fully commit. And yeah, it's so hard. A great
online.
Yeah, Billy with the aggression. You know, if the Sombra is going to be a thorn in your side, just don't let her set up. Right, the one weakness, if you will, of Sombra is that she requires time to get into the backline, right, and kind of uncloak and start putting damage in, find that hack. Billy have done, after that first fight, have done a good job of just playing the fight before Yang Xiaolong gets into position. And then it becomes a 5v6. And credit to the backline for Billy Gaming. Irony and Hyunjae doing a great job of surviving these dives. We saw Irony straight up eliminate Aprita on the Tracer. So if the Ana can do that, then, you know, you're sitting pretty and you're saying, well, yeah, that's cool. Your dive doesn't mean much to us. And now on match point, Billy Gaming only have to take 2/3 of the objective. And it's looking ever more likely.
What you got for us, Team Chaser? Torbjorn's coming back out once again. Backs to the wall. Team Chaser opt into the bunker-style defense. It looked pretty good on Monday versus T1W, but Billy has proved to be a completely different force.
And the critical thing here is that Chaser cannot lose a fight, right?
Yeah.
On Monday, they had the benefit of having the map capture. Here, no such case. They have to win the entire objective if they want to keep the series going and go to a map 5. And already Alpha E putting in so much threat on the air with this Echo.
They do have a Prita on the Ashe this time, though. Alpha E is not going to be uncontested in the air as he was on Temple of Anubis. Double sniper. Billy, they know how much time they have. Just play for a pick. Let Pineapple and Alpha Yi, or not double sniper, what am I talking about? Echo's not a sniper, folks. Although he can duplicate a sniper. Probably not going to. But the pick composition more so is what I meant.
Pineapple gets stunned there from the accretion from Late Young. They can't, they can't go on. And the other thing too is, yes, this isn't double sniper, but it allows, it's like the Pharah comps of old, but with a much more mobile character. And the first pick, Yang Xiaolong down.
The turret follows. Prita gets a couple, though. Not letting Billy onto the objective uncontested. Oh, but I mean, that's just a meat grinder. Alpha Yi with a focusing beam on one side, 800 with a nano on the other. And it is going to be a tasty dish that Billy are cooking themselves up for an appearance in the grand finals. YXL, I mean, can you even get there? No. Billy 3-1 Team Chaser and move on to the finals in a strong fashion.
GG's come through in the chat from both squads. We see the celebration from the teams as well. Billy Gaming as we get set. I will put a small asterisk here in that Chaser still have the lower bracket run, and looking at this, they don't have their mortal threat to look down at either. Right? They have to either play against Ultra Prime Academy or First Fabulous Fighter, which is obviously our next match of the day. But they're looking at that and they're saying, we have the time to kind of A, scout out what they're going to do, and then B, we feel confident because we've played these teams and we know how much we can kind of stand out above them. So for Team Chaser, this is not, I don't think, even close to being the end of the road.
No. I personally fully expect that we will see Chaser once again in the grand finals fighting Billy. But today it did seem like they had some awkward reads at the very least. These were the vague concerns we had when they played against T1W. Admittedly, they came on top in that series, so it was hard to batten down on those concerns. But now, I think it's safe to say that YXL, despite being a phenomenal Sombra in his own right, and evidently very good at understanding the game because he's been coaching this team, keep in mind, this whole season, the Sombra has been effectively shut down by Billy Gaming. The Torbjorn didn't really have the impact it was looking for on defense whenever they pulled it out. So I think we need to see some fresh looks from Chaser later on in the playoff bracket.
A couple things I want to note before we get to Billy, though, is that, one, they shut down Pineapple on the Tracer pretty effectively, I think, right? He didn't have the pop-off moments that we normally expect from him. Yes, Temple of Anubis was still dominant for Billy Gaming, but I did not feel that level of explosiveness that I'm used to seeing from him. And I think for Chaser, they have some real moments. I think they're maybe like 5 or 10% away, which is definitely viable before they get to sort of reset and look to who their next opponent's going to be. Very, very close. Now, obviously for Billy, though, we got to talk them up because in the grand finals, our #1 team, first overall in the season, and for the most part, making it look easy on their way there. This match was close, but it was still a 3-1. We didn't even get to the map number 5 off the back of Team Chaser's pick. So for Billy, still very much the favorite in the grand finals.
And this is the playoff performance that Billy wanted, right?
Yeah.
We have been graced with a very competitive season here for our first season of 2021 in Contenders China. There have been 4 teams all within spitting distance of each other. But Billy, if they can just win one more match, they cement themselves as the best team. Maybe not by a huge distance, right? We're not talking about CC levels of dominance from last year, but they will be the best team, and we will have no doubts of that moving forward for the rest of the year. Just one more game for them. 3 more games overall, and one of those will be coming at you after a quick break. We got Up Academy versus FFF, a rematch down in the lower bracket in just a minute. I'm lost. And yet I can feel his presence. Kenobi. Kenobi! Will it end here? Like this? No. No! I must draw Kenobi out, tempt his noble heart, but how? I know. Oh, I know. Here we are back for Overwatch Contenders. I've yet to draw Kenobi out, but I'm sure we'll be seeing him soon. We're back already. Billy Gaming versus Team Chaser 3-1. It was close in the first half, then maybe not so much. Once Billy really seemed to get the download on Chaser, LaFawn.
Yeah, that was a tough back half of the series for Chaser. For them, GG go next. They try to make their way back in the lower bracket. But speaking of, we got to look to the lower bracket now for our upcoming game. Op Academy versus First Fabulous Fighter. And this actually, speaking of how good these games have been, though, Paul, I have to ask you, which was hotter, the desert or the games we've had so far?
Actually, the desert was kind of nice that day. I'm not going to lie. It had like some nice wind. The sun wasn't too hot. So I'm going to say these games have been far hotter than the desert was. Surprisingly, I won't say that most days about Arizona, though, I'll be honest. Let's move on to a spicy, fiery rematch between First Fabulous Fighter and Up Academy, though. Last time, didn't go so well for Up, but they showed yesterday versus T1W that they do have the capabilities to stand out.
Yeah, and speaking of standout, as we get a quick look here at Up Academy's roster, there is a player I have my eye on in the specificity, and that, of course, is C-Wave, because a big part of why Up Academy was able to, just dispatch T1W with such ease was off the back of some fabulous hit scan play from C-Wave.
Yeah, I mean, the dude is just nasty. And I mean, Up Academy is probably the strangest team remaining in our top four, right?
Yeah.
Because this is a team going into the season, C-Wave, Dank, Thor. We expected big things, and then we didn't see them until we got to playoffs. They come in as the 5th seed, despite the talent on their roster. And I was just so happy to see players like C-Wave sort of return to the glory they had last year when they played up against T1W.
Yeah, it's a curious case of which team are we going to get from Ultra Prime Academy, because you said it best. I think this is a team I have expectations for that are quite high in terms of performance. When you look at players in their comfort fix, Dank on the Winston, C-Wave on hit scan, and Thor coming in on the support role as well. Highlight moments after highlight moments. C-Wave getting 3-4 Ks in with just headshot after headshot, not missing. In those critical blows, and then Ultra Prime Academy at the last moment just cannot put it together for the win. So, I mean, for their sake, I'm hoping to have a good performance, and eyes on the DPS, because I think for Up Academy, it's a little bit of live by C-Wave, die by C-Wave.
Yeah, and they were unable to live by C-Wave the last time they played First Fabulous Fighter. Let's move over and take a look at them, because this is a team we certainly had less expectations for going into the season, but have constantly been in that top 4. For them, it's not about beating Up. They probably want to just beat Up Academy, no problem, another 3-0, and then get on to contesting teams like Chaser and Billy.
Yeah, and I mean, this is for First Fabulous Fighter, this has really been a glow up of the season for them, right? Because I don't think if you had come into this season expecting FFF to not only be, contesting for the top four, but to be a regular member of it, to the point where when you talk about the top four teams in this region, you're like, yeah, FFF is definitely here. There's no question about it. Usually when we talk about this team in previous years, it's always been as the outsider looking in. And I think for the first time, top four, this squad definitely belongs here.
Absolutely. And I mean, Clear, BLX have been a phenomenal support line, constantly bouncing off each other, keeping each other alive. And I've actually really liked what V's and Top Dragon have been able to do. That being said, when they played Billy earlier in this week, they had to rely on some off-meta comfort picks that didn't quite get them the win there. And I think both of our squads today, there's an argument to be made. They're not necessarily the most flexible, but their style, whatever style they play, is good when they get to do so.
Yeah, this match is definitely going to be it's not going to be a mirror match in majority of the situations, simply because there are clear comfort roles on both squads, right? This is not unique to either Up Academy or FFF. Up Academy tends to perform the sort of the Winston Reinhardt version of Rush, have C-Wave a lot of the time on the McCree, and then FFF have usually tried to make the the Wrecking Ball Zarya composition work to their strengths a lot of the time. But as we get set for map number 1, as we get a quick look at our map set, Ilios, and I have to be honest, I think this favors FFF just ever so slightly.
I think it's pretty rough for Up Academy to try and play into that sort of let's brawl and let C-Wave pop off on the McCree style on a couple of these rounds, whereas V's is going to have a great time on the Widowmaker. The Wrecking Ball is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I almost said to be reckoning with, and that is not quite proper English. Luckily, we can move on to the map here, and you can already see across the season, FFF have been having far more fun on Ilios.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when we look at these flyout cards for Up Academy, unfortunately, a lot of the time you are going to see the number in the front lower than the second number, just due to how their season has gone. And I think for them, it's about resetting everything. Every round for them is a different round. And yeah, already we can see the difference of composition. C-Wave on the Sombra. So that is a little bit harder to pop off on, but we'll see if he's able to make it work.
Just poking and prodding at each other. Up Academy going for a dive now. They've actually spotted one isolated member, and they want to completely ruin their day. Unable to find that elimination, though. Mocha comes in for the counter. Dive maybe a little bit too far. And Bebe does do a good job of shutting that main tank down. And without Mocha, FFF actually probably going to struggle to really contest this objective. Top Dragon does get one, finding C-Wave in the back, but a counter dive into FFF's backline goes pretty well. It's still pretty scrappy, though, LaFon, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I think if you can get rid of the Moira, and as they do, Karen going down, this is going to favor FFF ever so slightly, especially with Mocha coming back off the respawn here, and now FFF are trying to find that advantage, but I mean, Up Academy, despite their low health bars, are playing space perfectly.
Ooh, there we go. All right, V's with the critical pick. Finds both tanks, actually. The baby D.Va does shut him down, though. And I mean, we've still got some DPS trying to hang on. It's just hard for C-Wave and Bebe to get through the meat of the front line. Supported by a Coalesce makes it easier, though. And finally, after some chaotic back and forth, Up Academy will cap.
So this is something that is interesting. C-Wave, of course, having the EMP. The second person on the board, or third, to have an ultimate. First was Pulse Bomb, then the Coalescence, and now finally this EMP. But this composition that Up is playing is actually designed to shut down Mocha, right? If you can hit the hack onto the Wrecking Ball, it becomes a very still target. And now FFF are playing into a very poor position. They don't have a real way to shut down C-Wave with this EMP here in this next fight.
Ooh, that armor pack missed, and Top Dragon's actually going to have to use the duplicate to make
Solo
sure
EMP.
that he stays in this fight right here. Mocha in, there's a grab coming through. Top Dragon with the Death Blossom duplicated. Oh, Bebe just a little late to the play. Was trying to go for that high ground TP into a Death Blossom of his own, but instead, FFF take the initiative.
C-Wave with a curious EMP there to start the fight off. It was a solo EMP onto Mocha, so just about as much value that ultimate got as a regular hack. And you didn't even get the elimination onto the Wrecking Ball, so ultimately a wasted utility. And now Up Academy, you know, obviously a great Graviton Surge into the duplicated Reaper. And First Fabulous Fighter, not that expensive a fight, especially because they have both support ultimates online here as this fight commences.
Coalescence immediately being popped there, keeping Up Academy strong and steady. Self-destruct, Primal Rage. Can they combo? No, not so much, actually. Dank is just trying to keep everyone off the objective, and just so long enough to where Up Academy do manage to flip the point back into their stable. And FFF just have to wait for a full re-engage.
Yeah, you can see now, it's a slow burn, though, and First Fabulous Fighter are not over-committing. They still have the retake with the rally available, and that's going to be committed here.
There's that we're looking for onto Mocha. Sound Barrier to pair with it. Death Blossom pushing forward. There's an elimination to boot. Clear is to be sent packing. She's unable to get behind her team. But there's a back cap. V's back capped, and he got a pulse on a car on two. FFF, they're committing to this fight now. Grabbing everything. Going for it. Top Dragon gets the heck out of dodge. Bebe's not able to find that at range. And FFF, V's, how does that happen?
And Riven is not dead yet either. Down to 1 HP, still manages to keep themselves alive. And, oh, this is terrible for Up Academy. With that flip coming through, it means that that 29% has morphed into 58% off that fight win. And now is where you would really expect them to start building ahead, but First Fabulous Fighter have now equalized in percentage, and Up Academy are looking at last fight territory. They only have the EMP Coalescence, and this has to be big. It simply just has to be big.
T-Wave needs to hit something nasty here. 3-4 actually hit by that EMP, and that is absolutely the ultimate we were looking for. C-Wave did not miss, does not miss, and Up Academy keep themselves on well for now. Still struggling to clean up the last couple of stragglers, hanging on for some extra percentage here, but they will get this cap. Don't you worry about it.
I mean, now 91%, which means that First Fabulous Fighter just has to win essentially 1.5 fights. Aggressive self-destruct from Bins.
Nice. Actually caught Mocha. That's pretty huge. These stagger kills are going to give Up Academy a massive advantage in this final fight.
Yeah, they did use the Primal Rage as well. So now for Up Academy, to close out this round, it's all about making sure that First Fabulous Fighter have to use their ultimates in a poor position. If they can entry, you know, if they can force First Fabulous Fighter to have to use their ultimates on the entrance through the choke point, that'll be ideal, because otherwise First Fabulous Fighter just has to win that one fight.
Look at Bins. He's just making sure that V's can't do anything. Pulse Bomb went just a pixel wide there, so Thor's going to be hanging around and still annoying V's. There goes the Coalescence. Up Dragon, despite having a nano, still feeling some pressure. Able to hang on, though, thanks to that damage reduction and a nice pocket. Oh, Death Blossom only gets 2. I'm actually not sure that's enough, despite the beautiful placement from Bebe. Top Dragon's got a Death Blossom of his own now and is cleaning him up. 91% and ticking for FFF.
There is still a recontest available under the most... It's possible. It's going to be close. You got the objective being tagged by Mocha. Or sorry, by Dank. So the overtime will tick down, but Dank is taken out.
Oh, so close, so close.
It's just a trickle fight here now for Up Academy.
Sound Barrier carries them onto the objective at least. C-Wave nearly at another EMP. If everyone on Up can survive long enough for that EMP to come through, you can flip this over, but no! The EMP only hits V's, thrown out in desperation, and now it's just a matter of time before First Fabulous Fighter will get well into their pocket.
That is round number 1 to First Fabulous Fighter, and I mean, there's a glass half full and a glass half empty way to look at this round number 1. Round number 1 is that was close and competitive, right? Up Academy was very much in this fight, and they were very much in contention. The glass half empty way of looking at it, though, is that has just been a description of Up Academy, full stop, right? So close, but not quite able to close it out. And just a couple of moments, like the case of having ult economy advantage and giving up the objective, that is problematic. And for Up Academy, it's the excuses just don't line up with their performance. We're going to see the rush style come here from Up Academy as they go to the May Reinhardt. And, you know, this could spell really big for them, especially considering Well was arguably the toughest place they have to play.
This definitely favors their style more, Up Academy.
So much damage taken, though.
Yeah, they're trying to force the issue. Wall actually up onto the high ground. That's a beautiful play from Up. They knew they wanted to take the fight to FFF, and they do so beautifully, completely clobbering the green team.
Yeah, it's just, something a little bit amusing of what Up Academy have been running. This has been looks at meta past featuring Up Academy, right? We saw the NA playoffs meta from last season with the Somber Reaper, right, in last round. Now we're seeing the May Reaper rush here. So clearly Up Academy, you know, showing us what Overwatch used to look like, and this time with more success in the first fight. No real ultimate available. Coalescence is going to be the first one here for Up Academy.
And Up, they just want to kind of hang on to that one. FFF have the difficult task of now trying to remove a rush composition from the point here on Lighthouse without much spam damage, right? They're going to use the minefield and try to go for a full fight. But the Coalescence is out in force now. Top Dragon has to duplicate, does get the Reinhardt. That's pretty strong if you can manage to get the Earth Shatter online, but not so much the case. Now the Shatter's online, but it goes straight into a corner. It's bought enough time and been enough of a distraction, though, to where FFF are making it happen. Blizzard ain't stopping them, and off the side goes Sea-Wave.
PLX was a hero in that fight. First, a environmental elimination onto his counterpart. Then make sure to get final blow and final blows on the main tank of Dank. And then obviously we saw the boop there at the very end to close out the fight. So BLX, a critical difference maker for first Fabulous Fighter in the main support. And now, I mean, you've done the worst part. The rush composition does not have the objective.
Bins? Okay, Bins had the boost, was able to get back on. Earth Shatter thrown out, but not something that Up Academy can actually capitalize off of. Sound Barrier available now too. Up, they don't have enough damage to pierce through that one. FFF, oh my word, did we really need that many ultimates? I think you guys had it without having to throw 4 ultimates into that one, but you know what? Better safe than sorry.
And they do keep the point in their percentage, right? They don't let that flip over at the the minute mark. So it's going to equalize and surpass Up's percentage here. And for Up Academy, this needs to be a fight they win and win handily, because this is the only time that they're really going to have ultimate economy advantage for the rest of this round.
The objective they go. They know they want to bait in FFF. Tarn's forced off the edge, though. It can't be Up. Can't be Up to heal Dank. Now, especially with the defense matrix completely neutralizing Pepe's ult, that's not much that Up Academy can do. Sea-Wave's doing his best on the Tracer to grab a couple of picks. But now Top Dragon's got him in his sights. And FFF, they're holding strong.
This has become a, oh no, now it's a trickle from Up Academy, and they just need a reset here. They only have one fight remaining, and it's just not going to happen.
I mean, now they don't even really get a full fight, LaFon. I mean, at 86%, Thor was eliminated. That's your speed boost to get everyone on the objective.
No.
Sea-Wave just goes down now. I mean, Dank needs a miracle with Earth Shatter or something. I'm not even sure anyone okay, Bebe's here to touch at least. But
look
beyond
how
that,
out! Top Dragon, the 6 stickies.
Ooh, that's not a bad Earth Shatter there, but there's nobody there to really follow it up. At least ELX will hit the floor courtesy of that stun. He's hanging around, trying to get back to his healers, and manages to do so, but actually just brings Dank back to his healers. And Up, they hold on by the skin of their teeth.
Oh boy, that was close. Up Academy doing just barely enough to get to the objective contest. I mean, I genuinely thought with Sea-Wave going down that was going to spell curtains for the map, but Up Academy, they get the tag in back with Bebe on the Sombra. Now, I mean, Up Academy still have some tools to work with. They should have the EMP here for this next fight, what is going to be the last fight of this round. Self-destruct initiation.
We'll go straight on in.
No way!
Thor! Oh, that's a critical pick. Now the Death Blossom is in for V's as well. That's too much damage for Up to deal with. And that's self-hit and squat. At least you get the remake from Bin so we can try and contest this objective. But Charon is under pressure, desperately fades on out of there. Has the Coalescence available too. Maybe can try and keep his team alive long enough for respawns. It's not going terribly, but a dueling Coalescence. The beam coming out the other direction. Clear has Charon in her sights. Can't quite finish it off, but hardly needs to at this point, just keeping her team alive. EMP in desperation, but no one's there to make use of it. And FFF get a 2-0 on Ilios.
As round 1 ended, so too does round 2. The desperation EMP is simply not enough to close out the round, and FFF take map number 1. This is really bad for Up Academy, Paul, right? Map number 1 needed to be one they came away with, because I think especially with how in the clutch moments FFF is there and Up is not, this could be a very quick series.
Let's be honest, though. Ilios was always going to be a pretty rough map for Up Academy, right? It doesn't play into the styles that we were looking for. They had to put C-Wave and Bebe on, not heroes they were bad on by any means, but, you know, not what we consider their signatures by any stretch of the imagination here. So, I mean, Well is really the heartbreaker for me. I think things could have been even more competitive if we had gone on to Ruins. They could have played that rush style pretty effectively, but Up Academy, while it wasn't the start they were hoping for, I think they had to have been prepared to lose map 1 and still fight for the rest of this series.
That is in fact, that is true. And obviously, you know, they will get the chance to pick the next map, so we would definitely be going to something that favors their strengths a little bit more here on map number 2. But as we get a quick look, that was a really clever play, getting the May wall up and then just finding the isolation.
Yeah.
I think another heartbreaker was definitely
the flashes of brilliance we get from Up Academy.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing FFF can do there, but a little bit more consistency on great plays like those would take them a very long way.
Yeah, and speaking of consistency, I think, you know, another heartbreaker on map number 1 was letting the point flip over on a fight they technically won, right? With V's getting the back cap, that was a big issue there too. So for Up Academy, you know, this team is so close to being genuinely good. That's the issue for me, is that I think that they have the pieces to be genuinely good. But it's just the last moment they've not been able to put 2 and 2 together, and that's the kind of issue where I'm hoping, at least on map number 2, as we get a quick look at our map set, that Up Academy come out on top.
And the good news is Up now get to pick that map, right? So we move over to Junkertown. They feel confident about this one, and I think this works out pretty well for them. C-Wave is a phenomenal sniper. Bebe has done a very good job supporting that. And while this might take Dank off of the Winston, which he's more so comfortable with, at least on the defense, right? You're probably not going to be running that Winston. We're likely looking at that more so Orisa with the Sigma bunker.
Yeah.
I still think that this is a viable pick here for FFF. I mean, Top Dragon has been looking pretty good on the Hanzo. Double Sniper is proficient for FFF, no doubts. But I think Up Academy can really force those issues that they were looking for. They're starting off with the rush comp on their attack, and it's not hard for them to just roll into the front line of FFF.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be sort of the case. If the bunker gets set up, though, and you can have the snipers keep the sight lines, that's where this becomes an issue. The other thing to note, too, is that it gets Mocha off of the Wrecking Ball, which has been a bit of an issue, actually, just for teams in general, right? Causing Mocha's one, strength on the Wrecking Ball, and it's not like Mocha's been a liability elsewhere, but has been the survivability. And if the main tank is just being a complete distraction, that's a huge issue. So this gets a little bit more space and time for Up Academy to kind of perform with their chosen composition here.
And because of their chosen composition, there's a time limit on the picks that Top Dragon and V's are looking for, because if they don't get a pick before Up Academy get close enough to these corners to where they can just hit the speed boost, rush around a corner, and overwhelm a backline, then we've got a problem, right? And it seems like, Up, they've made it here to start with. They're pinning down Top Dragon. They've got the Hanzo in their sights, and they get the Immortality Field out. Now Top Dragon exceedingly vulnerable, but this pick is just taking so long. They can't lock him down. He's just jumping all around. And the tank line's now gone for Up, and FFF kited that attack beautifully.
What spectacular healing from First Fabulous Fighter to keep the Hanzo alive, clear with a well-timed Immortality Field into direct hits from the biotic grenades that kind of come in from the healing fire of the Baptiste. So First Fabulous Fighter have survived the riskiest push that Up is probably going to make all map, because it now, C-Wave is now on the Widow, so they don't have the rush composition. Now you're hoping for a pick here from C-Wave.
Oh, spotted BLX. And look, Bebe's back there too. That's more pressure that you have to worry about. Finishes it off, but V's not letting C-Wave get away from that. Doesn't have the ideal angle though. with the composition or the fight that's being taken underneath V's right now. Riven's out in the open and hacked too, so gonna be taken down. Beautiful work there from Up Academy, immediately adjusting their composition and making it work.
Fight's not quite over yet, though.
Yeah, they actually can't kill Mocha. Mocha's pretty tanky. Okay, eventually they get him. All right.
I mean, this is sort of a stalemate, though, because the card's going to move forward, but there's still going to be a recontest available for our first Fabulous Fighter. And I mean, you've got... And Mocha's, yeah, making the switch now, so they're not going to wait for the Orisa to come back.
They have to get down and contest, though. I mean,
Mocha's
Riven has
there.
to just drop. Amplification Matrix makes things threatening for Up, and they immediately lose Bins, who goes up into the high ground to try and contest that Widowmaker. Top Dragon, come on! I know he's a slippery little frog, but you gotta get something. All right, the rest, V's ain't having the same kind of problems, just easily taking them down one by one, uncontested on that high ground.
And Mocha is... I mean, that was a really good read by First Fabulous Fighter. That stalemate was a bit rough because it meant that neither team could really jostle for position, and with Mocha making the decision to get to the Wrecking Ball to commit to the fight, First Fabulous Fighter knew they had the go button. Up Academy was stuck waiting to see if First Fabulous Fighter were going to make the re-entry, and unfortunately, the timing was just not there for them. So, Bomber's EMP is going to be available. Baby is going to have to be pretty big with it. They do start off good.
That's a nice pick right there.
Yeah.
BLX going down. You don't have to worry about the transcendence of all things. Bins does lose that mech once again. Just dancing around. Ooh, melee. Top Dragon not having any of it. Didn't want to risk the call mech. Things still going pretty well for Up Academy, though. V's hasn't been able to have the same kind of impact on that fight as previous ones, and Up will just walk the payload in.
Yeah, so, and critically, you didn't actually have to use that much, right? It was basically just a self-destruct and in for sight that was just used just then from C-Wave as he switches over to the Tracer. So, swaps coming on from both sides as V's is going to go back to the spawn as well. And we're seeing... Oh, poor BLX.
Oh, and that's a hack, too, onto Mocha. That's some nice time stalled off the clock. This is going to be good progress for Up Academy before fights take.
Yeah, Up Academy's not going to be able to take a fight here on the first half of the stage at all, actually. It's going to the first fight's going to happen when the cart's about halfway through point B. First Fabulous Fighter, though, going back to that, you know, familiar composition that we expect to see from them, right? They're going to see the Wrecking Ball, the Sigma, and the mobility characters here from Tracer and Echo. So back, as we said, a highlight to those stylistic differences that these teams are showing.
EMP comes out, catches 4 very vulnerable members, too. Coalescence looking to finish them off, and that's a beautiful fight for FFF. Immortality Field and Transcendence both committed to try and keep FFF around, but once those expire, there's not much footing left.
T-Wave get taken down by BLX, though.
It's not enough, though. I mean, BLX can come out here and contest. There's a couple healers. They can maybe make something happen. BLX gets another, but yeah, the cart easily makes that second checkpoint.
Unfortunately, the tanks just weren't there to stall the objective out, so despite the superior eliminations, Up Academy will roll it into second, but... I mean, this is now going to be an inverse of the second point, where you're committing... Oh, big shatter.
Ooh, nice Earth Shatter, too. I mean, that's just a momentum keeper for Up Academy. They get to just snowball this now effectively.
It's still the inverse of the start of second point, though, because unlike second point, where ultimates did not have to be committed, they did, they had to be used there to continue the fight, as Up Academy was starting to lose players. So it means that First Fabulous Fighter will get a real first contest here on the first third of the objective. And
ooh,
good hack.
Beautiful hack there. Top Dragon just has to get the heck out of dodge, and that means FFF, they can't really contest as quickly as they were hoping for. Critic Flux coming out now, but a sound barrier to counteract it makes it difficult to follow up on, and Top Dragon not getting much out of that duplicate either. Self-destruct deep into the back line. Clear goes down. Beautiful shot there from Bins. And with the Coalescence, I mean, this just keeps moving forward. Up Academy, it's been slow, but it's been steady, and they're looking to win this race.
See, Mocha so very weak. This is going to be a tough place to be now, yeah, because this has to be a soft reset from First Fabulous Fighter to keep their members alive. Up Academy have the EMP as well to try and close out this round as C-Wave gets on the flank.
Ooh, nearly found that elimination onto Riven, but not quite. The shield denying that at the last moment. EMP coming out, hits Top Dragon and V's. Top Dragon immediately going down. This has become so scrappy. I mean, Up Academy have just caused absolute chaos here. Oh, if only that was a true 1v1, I think C-Wave would have had it, but V's getting help at the last second there. Now it's starting to feel like Up Academy have finally been stalled out.
And, I mean, now this is... Oh no. The stall onto the Pilot Diva. They don't even let Bins get the chance at a call mech elimination. as they take him out. So first Fabulous Fighter, now they stabilize with a minute 20 left, and they have the resources, Top Dragon farming up to the duplicate. They have the ability to zone out now, right? How much utility they have? The Minefield, the Gravitic Flux, and the Deadeye, all to keep space here on the defensive end. And then we'll be able to have the Nano Boost just to provide that punching power to try and get those eliminations. Up Academy realistically have to go with a rush with the Coalescence here because that's their one win condition.
Deadeye up on the high ground, just zoning FFF away, trying to split them up so you can rush onto weak, isolated members. Clear in the hot seat. She goes down. Seawave finishes that one off, but it costs them Dank. Dank, the player who keeps everyone else on Up alive. And they're just stuck in a room. There's nothing Up can do.
That was a fast fight, though, so they will have one more remaining. And both support ultimates were committed from first Fabulous Fighter. So, I mean, it's a small window of opportunity here with the Shatter from Dank, with the Self-Destruct from Bins. But a small window is what Up Academy have to work with. So, in this last fight, if Bebe can get close to that EMP to get mid-fight, then there's still a possibility here for them, certainly.
Oh, gotta stay alive, Bebe. You get forced out early, so at least for the initial part of this fight, there is no EMP available. Top Dragon, I don't think that's who they were trying to duplicate, but, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going all right. Never mind. Dank with the Earth Shatter lays them down. Beautiful work.
No! Oh!
Oh, it's tragic. Oh, reset the board. It's been 0 days since a Charlie Niner.
I harken back to the knockout stage at the very beginning of the season where I said Contenders China should not be allowed to enter into the class C9, the C9 counter, because it happens way too frequently. Oh man.
I am in pain.
It's
Boy.
so tough too because that fight could still have gone either way. It had not quite solidified. I don't think Up Academy would have completed all 3 objectives because they had lost too many members, and critically Bebe, who had the EMP, was not alive. Man, wouldn't you have liked to know for sure?
It would have been close, LeBron, and now it's not so much. All right. We gotta do the same thing Up Academy does right now, LaFon. We have to reset our mental. Yeah. Wipe that out. Get it out of your mind. Can't worry about it now. C9s happen, as unfortunate as they are. So focus on the future against first Fabulous Fighter.
But look at... Oh, God. You're proud of that one.
Yeah, a little bit.
As we get a look here, Mocha going to go over to the... not quite deciding. So last second... changes. They're going to go for the hypermobility. Seawave, identifying that, is looking to kind of get the hack here onto the Wrecking Ball and make the main tank's life very difficult. Meanwhile, okay, we're going to see the pocketed Genji. Top Dragon here looking to pull out the Dragon Blade.
This is a composition where FFF looked competitive against Billy Gaming of all teams. Oh, Clear got the sound cue. She knows that Seawave was hanging around there somewhere. Couldn't quite find him though. Ooh, nice accretion. Can't follow it up, though. Unfortunate. Ooh, beautiful shot. V's already taking down Karn. I mean, that should just be the fight over. BLX, you want to maybe play a little bit further back than that next time, buddy? Oh, boy. Top Dragon getting run down, too. This is getting a little bit silly right now, LaFon. Vince is out in the open. They left him to die to try and go for a soft reset.
A great read there from First Fabulous Fighter, actually. They get caught in a corner, and it was on a nice edge, but Clear lands a brilliant Bionade that keeps the fight going, gets the elimination. First Fabulous Fighter now are close to closing out point number 1.
Dank is here to contest. Locking this one down, but the Fortify runs out. That's now a vulnerable Orisa comparatively. Immortality Field gone too. Desperately up or going out the door, but they're met with a blade from Top Dragon. Only gets 1 off, or make it 2 off of it. You don't need to be flashy. You just need to win.
And that's, I mean, it only cost them BLX as well, so that's going to be a full reset here. And, I mean, now, critically, you can get to the high ground, and Up Academy have to, with the fact that they're trying to keep playing this Orisa, Up Academy have to stage, right? They have to set up the Orisa to try and get Dank into a position where, can put the shield down to stand behind it. But the big problem here is Up Academy's composition does not make a lot of sense in terms of its synchronization, right? They're not playing people that are going to play as a group. And even though they have the EMP, I'm not sure they have the damage to follow it up.
Oof, look how much damage Dank took immediately, too. That EMP really didn't hit much other than Riven, so we've still got a very dangerous FFF coming out. Okay, with BLX gone, it becomes much simpler. Clear is isolated, too. Good work from Up Academy. They weather the storm, and they find their feet back under them.
All right, that's a really good execution from Up Academy. So, you know, I'm happy to see that that ends up being the case with you saw the EMP come in and Up Academy. You're like, all right, don't worry about positioning. We're just going to run at them. And First Fabulous Fighter's like, what? You're allowed to do that? So now VLX going to switch over to the break as they commit the Gravitic Flux. Fast here from FFF.
Khan going to have to use the Immortality Field pretty early. FFF, if they can just keep this a battle of attrition, they should be able to win that out eventually. Amplification Matrix makes it difficult for them to push forward, though. There goes Top Dragon in for the pick and out like a maniac. Love it. And that's just it. So much damage done. Top Dragon's got a blade he's sitting on now, too, for when Up Academy come back. That's
a spectacular run there from First Fabulous Fighter, and Clear with a brilliant Bionade. Oh, this is tragic. Just the sheer... the fear, right? It's like, it's inevitable, and there's nothing I can do about it. Speaking of it, nothing that they can do about it, Nano Blade is going to be online here in just a second as Top Dragon sets up here.
There it goes, diving in onto the back.
Oh, no reset.
A little bit far. Spacing on that one's a bit awkward, but at the end of the day, although that's, again, not the flashiest blade ever, but it's isolated players like Thor from the front line that needed to dive forward and contest the cart. So it does its job.
Yeah, and this is now, I mean, this is a real panic moment for Up Academy because they should win this next fight, right? They have the EMP, they have the self-destruct, they have the ability to set up. The question is, now how much time do you take off the clock? Because the enemy at this point in time is not their economy. It's how much time they have to defend to prevent a full cap, and 4 minutes is a lot.
Honestly, this needs to be a pretty inexpensive next fight, and with FFF already set up on the high ground, that's going to be difficult. Beautiful shots from Top Dragon. Bins will make him pay for it. So it's at the end of the day, a 1-for-1. There's an EMP. It catches 5. Rally's out, though, so FFF are hanging in there. And Anti from Charon, rather, makes it difficult to do so, though. Still pretty scrappy, as these fights have been all series long, honestly. But FFF, they're going to keep trudging forward, LaFon.
That is as disastrous a fight as it could possibly be. Up Academy committed their real win condition, the EMP, and did not win the fight. And First Fabulous Fighter used almost nothing, right? Just the support ultimates there, and now, I mean, we're heading into the last fight of the map, and you've got the Death Blossom, you've got the Supercharge, and you've got the Gravitic Flux. Up Academy just need to win out straight with this rally. Oh, no.
I mean, Seaway's already gone. Tank joins him pretty quick. I mean, every ult thrown in. FFF know they have the advantage. They're not squandering it whatsoever. The raid boss Nano Brig ain't much of a raid boss at all. More than enough item level on FFF for them to wipe that one and get themselves a 2-0 lead. They're already on match point.
I mean, that map was a story of two sides, right? It was a case of FFF at the last moment just having the wherewithal to force the fight and win it. Up Academy felt like they were constantly searching for that edge that they just could not quite find, and as a result, I mean, it was a very dominant map for FFF in map number 2, and that is tragic for Up Academy because if they knew that map number 1 was going to be a struggle for them, they needed map number 2. Because here at match point, I mean, yes, they still have the chance to pick the map, but losing your map pick is never a good place to be in.
Escort was certainly the map type that Up Academy looked competitive on, or at least the most competitive on when they first played FFF in that very first round of the playoffs, too. Admittedly, that was Dorado, not Junkertown, so those play completely differently. But this is on... It was a chaotic masterclass from FFF, right? It felt like every fight devolved in such a wild manner, but individually, Top Dragon Vs were able to do so much, and with Clear and BLX supporting, Up struggled to find a window of opportunity that they could actually fit through.
And I think, that point that you make about this being, fights devolving into chaos, it's a little bit of the fact that FF's composition is actually designed to kind of operate inside that chaos, right?
Exactly.
Whereas Up Academy, they're playing a composition that is by nature designed to work around the synchronicity of the cooldowns that the team as a unit have, right? So Yeah, it's a little bit of devolving into chaos, sure, but one team is designed for it. The other was kind of falling prey to it.
Exactly. Now we're going to move towards map number 3. It becomes difficult for Up Academy. They have to try and pull off a reverse sweep for the top to try and make the top 3 here, LaFon. I'm not pinning my hopes on it for them, but we've seen crazier things in Contenders China this season. We've been no stranger to reverse sweeps, so we'll see if they're able to pull that off or if FFF will charge their way into the lower bracket finals against Team Chase when we come back from a quick break. FFF looking to reflect the match they got against Up Academy in the first round of our playoffs with a quick 3-0. Up Academy, they got one more chance to change that tune, if only a little bit. We're heading to Assault as our third map type, but it's currently 2-0 up for First Fabulous Fighter, and it's been pretty dominant, to say the least.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the big issue is, man, map number 2, I think, is going to come back to haunt up just a little bit because there are no real good choices for them here on Assault. They choose Volskaya Industries. It's the best of the worst, right? You're not going to Temple of Anubis. You're not going to go to Hanamura. So for Up Academy, I mean, you're hoping for a chance to either make the Winston or Reinhardt work here. But I think stylistically, you kind of have to just get C-Wave into position. We've seen Up Academy try and play around, a style of playing more team-based stuff. But I think here on map number 3, you really just have to go C-Wave McCree. And, I mean, at least initially, does not appear to be what they're aiming for.
Yeah. And, I mean, looking at how these maps have shaped up for these two teams, at least it isn't some crazy advantage for FFF, right? There's a low sample size for Up Academy. Maybe there's a world in which FFF don't have the right footage that they needed for the style that Up Academy is playing. Stylistically, compositionally, at least. Not too much is changing from them, but maybe they can catch them off guard with a funky rotate or some very well-timed aggression.
Yeah, we're going to see, I mean, it's going to be the rush, right? The Rhine-based rush composition here as we see the Reaper come in as well. Question really hasn't been, that first fight, man, needs to be so good. Top Dragon is already over top doing so much work.
Oh, Mocha's under so much pressure, though. Great work from Up Academy. They're just glued to each other right now, and Mocha isolated, not able to receive the necessary support there. Now Up Academy recharged off a soft reset. They can move forward, not with Bebe, though. It's going to be harder for them to chunk out those DPS, or those tank players, rather. Tank, no, he's gone. One tick hasn't even been taken yet. Coalescence is online, though, so Up Academy can grin and bear it through this assault. Now they're moving forward, too. First tick has finally been taken. It's been costly, though. I don't know how long they can hang on to this, Lafon.
There is a chance for a retake here, but it's only squishies available from FFF. So I think it's going to be, the late staggers here. And yeah, you can see.
Clear just bounces forward. She's just like, don't worry, guys. I'll contest the objective.
Yeah. I mean, Respawn particularly. That is a first fight take from Up Academy.
Yeah.
Even when they win confidently, though, they make it look so risky. As we saw, EMP is available,
yeah,
but
this should be a good fight for them.
It should be a good fight.
You sounded so hesitant, Lafon. All right. These, I mean, there's no shortage of things for FFF either, right? They're coming up to 4 ultimates here, several of which are very impactful. There's an EMP that doesn't really do squat, I'll be honest. It just keeps a couple players back for a moment. At least Up could get onto the objective, but you got to worry about this Deadeye and everything else thrown straight at Up Academy. At least they trade 1 ult for 3. But they ain't getting a tick out of that one.
Yeah, it's a case of, I think when it comes down to it, right, there's an element of the mathematics of Overwatch that is ultimate based, right? You have to say, okay, do we trade resources? And if so, how does that kind of work out? When it comes to Up Academy, though, that's not really the math I'm doing because I have to weight everything that they use a little bit less than their opposition. So yes, it was 1 for 3, but look how quickly First Fabulous Fighter is bringing up to the minefield, which has gotten a ton of value, or the rally. At least the hack is here to deny Mocha any opportunity.
Coalescence trying to give Up Academy the energy to get onto the objective, and with Mocha gone, there's a window for them to get some progress. Riven has to be the one to contest now, and Hack is going to be difficult to do so safely. Nice ult too. Pin didn't quite finish off BLX though. That rally's still going to be ticking up armor. FFF are on the objective. It's rough for them to finish this off, especially against that self-destruct, but V's charging forward. He hardly misses a shot on C-Wave. Gets that Sombra out of there. A stun to lock down Charon, and it's only 1 tick for Up Academy.
The tragedy of Reinhardt on full display there. Dank with a phenomenal shatter. And then the pin just bounces the Brigitte away instead of, taking them in and getting the elimination. And that, obviously, with the rally armor, meant that in the later stage of the fight, BLX became a real threat. So luck is certainly not on Up Academy's side, at least so far. Here's the EMP again. C-Wave setting up, looking for the hack. And
Well-timed EMP catches 5. Nano not going to be out for clear. She's just completely decimated, as is her support duo. This has gone well for Up Academy, but they need to get rid of these tanky players on the objective to finish this up. One by one, FFF are going in now. Up Academy have finally managed to get a hold of the objective. Nano coming in, but no! FFF, I'm not calling that a C9.
No, that's not.
Put it, chat, I can see it right now. Just stop it. I'm not calling it a C9, all right?
No,
it's just a good job by Up Academy to keep FFF from contesting.
That was yes, a lot of boops. Obviously, they have to walk through the Reaper's ultimate as well. The Death Blossom putting so much damage in the forefront, so half locked down by that, the other half locked out by Thor and the Bins respectively with the knockback effects. So yeah, no, just a good play from Up Academy there. And it starts off with C-Wave hitting a massive EMP, no defensive utility from First Fabulous Fighter, and I think for the first time all series, that was a well-established win condition from Up Academy that they committed to and actually got through perfectly. There was no trades. There was no, players getting lost in the sauce, so to speak. That was just really good from Up Academy to close out the points.
Certainly.
And more critically, 3 minutes, 9 seconds, that's a really good time bank.
Yeah, very solid. They got that first point without any issues. And then, I mean, they couldn't quite snowball it, but they only took, what, 2 minutes from there to get the second objective?
Yeah.
That is the kind of... that's the kind of consistency we need from Up, right? Consistency is what we've been asking for them throughout the playoffs thus far. So transfer those sorts of fight wins to your defense now, Up Academy. That is the challenge I lay out for you.
Starting off with Bebe on the Sombra. So that has been a hero that has been swapped back and forth between C-Wave and Bebe. But speaking of C-Wave, we now get to see him for the first time on McCree all series.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm actually surprised he hit that shot. That was quite a bit exerted from FFF to keep him down, and Bees will eventually run him away. Yeah, all right. Well, good attempt, Up. It's not going to work out that well, though.
I mean, it's still like, what is it, like 2-on-3? It's still possible something is doable here as Dank is sitting up on the high ground.
Look, LaFon, as the leading expert in things that are possible, plausible, or my name, I'm not calling it this fight any of those three, right? It seems that Up are considering contesting again.
Oh, no, they don't have time.
All right, they're going for it. D-Wave's on the objective. At least they can get a contest available, albeit barely. Top Dragon can't quite decide what target he wants to go for. C-Wave doesn't have that issue at all. Clear is gone. Beautiful work there from Up Academy. And they actually... Okay, well, I guess I'm not the leading expert in anything anymore. LaFon, they got it. I gotta change my name. The producer in my ear. All right, well, I'll think of other options after this series.
I mean, it's still not possible because that would be a strange thing to call a fight. But
true.
No, but that was a good retake from Up Academy. They left it. I thought they left it too late, but no, the perfect timing. I think FFF did not expect the retake to happen that late. And now Up Academy have the EMP to work with. They are in a pretty good position, actually, here now, all of a sudden.
You can just hold on to it until you see the players from FFF commit, right? Waiting for the counter hack. Beautiful. Oh, couldn't quite land it, though. EMP does come out and nullify that minefield just a little bit. Bebe still having to get out of dodge. Resources starting to run a little bit thin here for Up Academy. They're in this room where they can get a lot of healing, sure, but it's also where FFF can pump in ridiculous damage. Thor now hanging on to the objective as long as he can, but that's not going to be very long.
Yeah, this time around, the recontest is not there, and they will take it, especially with only 1/3 left. Yeah, you can see Thor. A poor attempt, but, you know, the last-ditch effort is one that'll buy a second or so. And now FFF look to begin their objective on second. That being said, if Up Academy win one fight here on the defense, and they do have some attempt to do so, right? They will have the supercharger here. There is some availability. The rush is just going to keep... They're going to go for the snowball.
Oh, nice. V's couldn't make it up to the high ground, and C-Wave with the hack isolates V's entirely. It's not a pick that C-Wave can get, but you at least nullify one of the biggest damage dealers on FFF, while the rest of the attacking team is going for a full fight. Up Academy, they did a great job there, and it was all off the back of C-Wave.
That was a really good pick, actually. Yeah, absolutely the case. Up Academy, they won that fight out. They prevented the snowball with no ultimates. They had really not much available to them other than the supercharger, which, you know, it's a great utility, but you don't usually expect one ultimate to beat out 4 available. And First Fabulous Fighter now, you know, this is the case where Up at worst will equalize in time bank off the back of basically a good defense on A. So here, First Fabulous Fighter don't have, and now they're in the reverse position where they don't actually have much to work with. Top Dragon trying to get on the flank and just put pressure in the form of damage here onto Up Academy's front line.
In goes the dive from Mocha. Rally here, counteracts it though. Up Academy, not struggling whatsoever. C-Wave, I mean, he's got an EMP if he needs it. Trying to decide if he does or not. Mocha's gone. And there's that EMP coming out. Hit clear and 2 others. Up Academy, they're feeling very comfortable all of a sudden. FFF are struggling to actually make their way into this objective.
In the midst of that chaos, FFF did actually get 1/3 of the objective, which is, I believe, why C-Wave committed the EMP. Better to commit, you know, the EMP there and not waste more percentage on the point, right? Especially because it denied the minefield as well. So, three players hack plus the mines is a good trade in my opinion. As I mean, time bank advantage now is in Up's hands, and if they win one more fight, all of a sudden they're looking at denying First Fabulous Fighter any re-attack on this point at all, or on this map at all, with a real chance to close it out. V's so weak.
FFF still want their 3-0, keep in mind. They don't want to let this go to a 4th map because that is an uncontained variable that they don't really want to have to deal with if they don't have to. Oh, well, there goes V's. I mean, 14 health, yeah, there's no way. Even with a Wraith form, you're getting out of that one. And with V's gone so soon, Death Blossom going with him, Up Academy just going to walk this out.
Yeah, good read. Bebe is going to go down, but, I mean, it doesn't really matter because the fight's already over.
Yeah.
And, you know, now, I mean, the critical thing here, V's going to make a switch, doesn't even get to use the Death Blossom. Up Academy have not been using that much to win these fights. Like, now down to a minute 40, and Up Academy has basically everything.
Ooh. That's a good trade for C-Wave, though, because that just stalls more time for FFF, right?
Yes. And the respawn time are obviously closer for, the respawn position closer for Up Academy than it is for First Fabulous Fighter. So,
yeah.
I mean, now you're looking at the last minute of play here on this objective, and at worst, Up Academy here is now playing to try and draw the clock down to 0 minutes, right? So, with 6 ultimates, they should be able to deny First Fabulous Fighter any objective time here.
And if Up can get it down to 0 seconds left, they at least extend this series by another map. Top Dragon gonna lose that duplicate instantly. Oh, baby. Only gets 1 off that ult, but that's still pretty darn good, all things considered. Just poking at him, too. There's no one on Bebe right now. He's putting up some pretty good numbers on the McCree. We're learning that Up Academy's not just got 1, but 2 very viable Cowboys.
And now this is a disastrous situation for First Fabulous Fighter. BLX uses the rally in that last fight and gets taken out before, you know, the line even finishes. The ultimate activation line. So switch coming over. FFF now in desperation switch territory, as the likelihood of them completing this point with any time is incredibly limited. 20 seconds. Now they're looking to see if they can even cap. Never mind capping with time.
C-Wave will be back too. That's not really a pick that matters too much to Up. Top Dragon going in, trying to isolate Thor. At least moves the rally far back from the tanks, but can't actually get an elimination. And now is in a very bad position. Oh, that's Top Dragon gone. That's your pick potential out the window. In goes Mocha desperately, but again, nobody can deal with Bebe up here. V's will shut down C-Wave. Now a grab up on top. No one can follow it up, though. Self-destruct out, and it blows him away. Beautiful bomb by Bins. And that is map 3 done and dusted. Up Academy put at least 1 on the board.
That is clean closeout from Up Academy, and they looked dominant there on the defense for Volskaya Industries. Let's get a quick look at where the players are situated for the team play for Up Academy. And Paul, I have to be honest, I was incredibly skeptical after the struggle that Up Academy had in the first half of the series that they would be competitive, but Volskaya Industries was clearly theirs, and they didn't really give FFF much space to work at all. It started off with a great recontest on point A on their defense, and just not letting any entry into point B. Truly great gameplay from Up Academy.
And you talked earlier about the chaos that FFF often find themselves comfortable in. You know, when you play the wrecking ball, almost 100% of the time, you want things to be chaotic. You want to spread the attention of the enemy team and then weave your own path through that maelstrom. But Up Academy, they weren't letting that happen this time. They stayed together. They were able to just neutralize every attempt from FFF to isolate members or devolve these fights. And it made Up Academy look so much more competitive.
It really did, and I think the one time where the only time this map that you kind of look at and say, "Ooh, Up Academy, what are you doing?" was on the first fight of Point A, right, where
Sure.
they kind of traded back and forth. But that I think after that moment, it kind of disappeared. That was just solid team play from Up Academy. And I want to highlight the retake on the first point, which they denied with like what 10% remaining. That was just well timed, well coordinated gameplay from Up Academy. It was just, they had C-Wave get the contest at the last second. Dank was threatening to recontest, but not actually play on the objective. And that kind of baited FFF into trying to play too aggressively. And just I have to highlight as a real team effort from Up Academy, really well done.
And in the grand scheme of things, a last second contest like that on the first objective gets them another minute and a half, 2 minutes off the time bank. That's so many fights they don't have to worry about on the second objective, the more critical objective of the two. It's a great heads up play from Up Academy. Not a lot of teams would go for it, but they make it work.
Yeah.
And that, amongst other things, gets them onto a map 4.
It's certainly a series we have on our hand now, right? I was genuinely worried that Up Academy would not put a fight, but they have really turned a corner, I think, and it's been good to see.
Yeah, now we move on to map number 4. It will be First Fabulous Fighters pick. Ooh, they're taking us to Eichenwald. We haven't been here in a while.
Yeah, actually, this one here is super strange because I think this is one of the few maps we could go to that kind of equalizes the pick potential of the compositions both teams are running. If that, you're looking at this, we talked at the top of the show that this is going to be a sort of study in opposites in terms of what the teams are going to run. Obviously, First Fabulous Fighter choose to go to the Wrecking Ball a lot more frequently, and the Echo and sort of the trappings of that composition. Whereas Up Academy likes to play the Rush based on the Reinhardt or the Winston. And now, both of these compositions work fairly well to my mind on this map. So, whereas First Fabulous Fighter is probably weighted more heavily on the first half of the map in terms of how much, they're able to get value out of, Up Academy, the last half of the map should be their playground. So, for First Fabulous Fighter, they need to really put an aggressive showing here off this first fight, in my opinion.
D-Wave is going to scout out what this composition is, or at least attempt to. Bees goes forward, though. Sneaks through. Oh, this early brawl, this early attempt from Up Academy is read like a children's book by V's. Just for the scout, too. V's goes back. Now they know where Up is playing from. They know what the gambit was, and they're not going to be caught off guard by it. Ooh, C-Wave. Hopping to try and get the hack. Eventually gets it on Amoka, though, and that's the better target for it anyways. Top Dragon's in behind, though, and his DMAX bins. That's defense matrix gone. So Up Academy have to be much more careful about how they play this, or that'll happen. Their tank will lose the shield, lose his life, and now it's looking like Up are just going to lose the first objective.
Oh, good start for First Fabulous Fighter here, right? Again, you talked about that read, the scout, excellently well done. First Fabulous Fighter, they come back in with a real plan of attack. And now it's just, the fight is truly become a case of how much more time can we stall? And for Up Academy, the answer is not much. Now, though, this is where Up Academy always was going to struggle a little bit because...
Hello? They're going for it. They're stopping the payload right at the start. 1 meter is all it gets before Up Academy come back in. The Coalescence takes them there. They got an EMP now, too, for when FFF come out the spawn doors.
Yeah, this is what I was kind of afraid of, though, for FFF, because they needed to kind of get through this. Why are they committing resources in this fight?
They're already going. They're already making the decision to play for this. Sound barrier into. FFF want to get out their spawn doors. They are not letting this snowball out of control. They're not risking anything, LaFawn. Top Dragon destroys them. It cost them 5 ults to get out of spawn and get the payload toward the gate.
Yeah, that's... I mean, yes, their respawns are quicker, so they just go. Up Academy, you know, that was... They buy time off the clock, though, so not a wasted position at all. And V's actually makes a switch over to the McCree rather than the Reaper that he was playing earlier. So first Fabulous Fighter now had the opportunity to keep it going. Up Academy says no, sir, and walks in with a Shatter.
Ooh, Shatter. Doesn't
No
quite
kills.
get what Up was looking for, though. They eventually find V's. Dank in a little bit of trouble. Does find the pin, but while Dank's trying to fight Riven, the rest of his team's fighting the entirety of FFF, doing a pretty decent job of it until C-Wave extends a bit too far and finds himself on the wrong side of some sticky bombs. And Top Dragon can just poke in all day, right? Again, with Bebe gone, with C-Wave gone, there's no one really contesting Top Dragon. So you don't really have to worry about these sorts of things, and Up can't keep the payload contested.
This has been... I mean, these fights have been a lot quicker than... What? I was like, wait a second. How is he moving when he's contesting the cart? But it was just Dank's body.
Gotta love Ragdoll. All right.
Yeah. EMP available here in this next fight, Paul, and I mean, C-Wave, I think we'll have to try and land at least 3 here to try and make this a difference maker. I'm
looking at Top Dragon specifically, right? Nearly up at that duplicate. There goes the EMP. It catches 2 BLX off the side because of it, though. Beautifully done by C-Wave. Woo! Some nice shots there, too, at the very end of it. That's just one great ultimate for Up Academy to actually get this done. I guess they also use the self-destruct.
I think C-Wave got 2 environmental kills as a result of his hacks. And so he's, as a result, already up to 50% ult charge after using the EMP just now.
Huge.
So big. I don't think First Fabulous Fighter is necessarily expecting that much resource. So the EMP could very well be online in this next fight. And having back-to-back EMPs could be an absolutely catastrophic position for First Fabulous Fighter to be in.
And now the card's difficult to get to as well. Up Academy have a beautiful spot. Oh, look, they're going all the way up. Oh, please don't. Please get back to the objective in time. All right, Up's here. We're not worried about it. Clear's gone, and that's a great start for Up Academy, too. Need to keep it going. Top Dragon with the self-destruct. Calm Mac nearly gets him. That second self-destruct. Oh, my word. What are you going to do when there's just explosions left, right, and center? The answer is die and give FFF the entry into third.
The pressure on Dank meant that Dank had to rotate his shield, so Thor died to the self-destruct. That's unfortunate, but really well played by First Fabulous Fighter. That being said, this is now a place where Up Academy should have the advantage because they have more corridors to work with. There's less angles for Mocha to enter from, and so flank should not be so much of a threat here as Mocha comes in for the power driver on this next fight.
Nice little entry there. Mocha got to be a bit careful. There's that second EMP coming out. It's pretty big, but there's no elimination. Okay, eventually there's one elimination, but now the sound barrier is available, and Up Academy have gone out of their safe haven. Dank's far forward, has to ult. Earthshatter doesn't get much done. Top Dragon coming around now can easily, maybe easily. No, picks the focusing beam on the full health target. Actually gets eliminated, but we're back to steal your Canadianism, LaFon, a gong show right now. FFF have somehow made their way back to the objective. Deadeye out, keeps them at bay for a minute. But these teams are just looking to scrap.
Yeah, this is, the concept of strategy has really truly become just go. And FFF is just going.
And they're going right now. Coalescence out for both sides. Finns loses that mech, though. That was an odd spot for Up Academy to try and take a fight with the Coalescence. And it's going to cost them.
Yeah, and now, I mean, Up Academy does have the EMP, and I mean, BLX is not quite to the sound barrier, so if they can exit the spawn doors, then this will be a chance for Up Academy to get a true fight going, but Top Dragon has the duplicate available, they have the self-destruct, they can really prevent Up Academy from exiting the spawn.
Top Dragon's got that Diva again. We saw what 2 self-destructs did to Up Academy last time. The first is going to get Karan, the second chucked out after Dank, and it'll get him and Bebe. Beautiful work. I mean, it's a struggle bus, to say the least, for Up Academy now. First Fabulous Fighter just need to walk this in, get rid of these spawning stragglers. Thor? Hello? Thor? Still alive? All right, eventually goes down. Tank is back. Earthshatter available. Hits a couple with it, but it's not enough. All right. Some time stalled out here by Up Academy, but eventually FFF will get this third point.
Yeah, it's going to be the DMAC and the final elimination. And the cart rolls in. Up Academy, they give up 3 points. They don't get it below that minute mark. And so now for Up to keep their playoff hopes alive, have to complete the map with time remaining, Paul. Because again, First Fabulous Fighter is on match point here. And I think the biggest heartbreaker here for Up Academy is this third point should have been the one where they were strongest. But First Fabulous Fighter play it well, right? Have Mocha roll through, stay alive, dodge the hacks from C-Wave. And, you know, with 3 points on the board, First Fabulous Fighter have done what they needed to.
Now the onus falls on Up Academy. They did a great job on Volskaya showing us that they could contain FFF and not let the chaotic strategy run wild through these maps. Need to see that same sort of dedication, that same strategy from Up Academy on their own attack now. They have to walk the payload all the way through, at the very least, to extend this series, preferably with time.
Dank now going to the Winston, though. So they're going for more mobility here, right? The Reinhardt was for the defense, Winston for the offense. We'll see if Dank on his signature hero provide them a little bit more space to work with than they did on the defense. Up Academy are hoping for a fight that's equally as explosive for them as FFF had theirs on their defensive end. Riven looking to deny it, of course, switching over to the Diva.
Up season can end in this round if they are not careful. I like this flank from C-Wave going on in. The dive in from Mocha, though, very proactive from FFF, not letting Up Academy even through the door before First Fabulous Fighter take the fight. And I mean, Up Academy just looked completely bamboozled by that strategy. They weren't prepared for it at all.
Yeah, the one thing that FFF has going for them for sure is that they were willing to click to hit the go button first on multiple fights here on this map, right? The fights Up Academy have won, if you look back at Volskaya, it's where they were the initiators, where they were the ones setting the pace, right? Saying, okay, now is when we're going to go. FFF have reversed that here on Eichenwald, and it's made things a lot more difficult. You can see, look, up Thor almost taken down off the sticky bombs. That's just a poor start here to this fight.
If nothing else, this stalls time, right? Up Academy, it's difficult for them to actually find their entry. Dank's gonna have to ult Primal Rage just to bat FFF back to the objective. Doesn't get an elimination or much else out of it. Tries to throw one off the map. V's teleports back on and into a Death Blossom. Dank feeling the heat, has to jump on up and leave his team to die. Again, so well done by First Fabulous Fighter.
Despite losing 2, yeah, that's just gonna be a full reset here as they get the DMAC yet again onto bins. And I mean, half the time bank elapsed here for Up Academy. And you can see another switch. Dank now on the Reinhardt. Don't know that's the switch. Like, I don't know that's going to really fix the problems that they're having, which is that First Fabulous Fighter has been in position faster and executing more cleanly on these pseudo dives. Right, Top Dragon over the top with the stickies. They do get in through the gates, though, so a good start here.
Ooh, Bebe. Oh, denied by the duplicate. Top Dragon not letting Bebe get the best of that Echo 1v1. Has a self-destruct now, too, to keep Up Academy at bay, but it's Bins who actually gets the first elimination. Clear gone means in an extended fight, Up Academy should be able to get this done. They have to survive. More self-destructs, though. Top Dragon dueling up top with Bebe. Eventually, Bebe will get the kill that was denied him earlier, and with a Coalescence, Up Academy have made their way onto the point with some confidence, but this is far from an easy cap.
Yeah, it's still delaying time here. FFF should be on the tail end of this, taken down, and yes, with V's going away, that is going to be Up, going to take finally the objective, but nearly 3 minutes. And that means that the second stage here is going to be incredibly difficult for them. Well, I mean, you have to expect that Up Academy has, you know, tries to get to a high ground position here, tries to play off the duplicate of Bebe, maybe the Diva, then play with the self-destruct and try and get Dank to the Shatter, because I mean, look how much space that FFF is taking here on the overhead. Look how much damage is coming through.
And Mocha is just such an annoyance so constantly in these fights. And then could just back up and wait for the heals. Sound barrier from Up Academy. They want to try and force this fight, but FFF are having none of it. They just back the heck on up. Coalescence to get them out safely. It does give Up Academy some progress on this payload with Bebe so far forward. He's got a self-destructive boot. Can throw that one in as a counter method to keep FFF pinned down and split up. It's well done, and C-Wave's cleaning them up too. I mean, wow, 3 in the fight. Ran them down very well.
Yeah, the self-destructs there from Up Academy were less about finding eliminations and more about forcing people into C-Wave's sights, right? Bebe with the duplicate onto the Diva, and then, yeah, C-Wave just getting with the cleanup. Now, I mean, the Shatter is available. Obviously, no shields here for First Fabulous Fighter. Dank needs to be the difference maker here.
Oh, Bebe's gone. Oh, my word. V's in the back line. Karin eventually will make him pay, but Coalescence actually keeping Up Academy in by just a hair. Riven feeling pressure, will get that self-destruct out though. And that takes out C-Wave. He couldn't get around the cart. Oh, it's tragic for Up Academy. They were looking like they could stabilize, but now maybe they could still stabilize actually. Riven losing mech. Once again, we're back to devolved chaos though, and that's where FFF want to keep you. This is just more time off the cart, and now they've got a Coalescence. Mocha, I believe. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. Ooh, nice tech at the end there. All right, he's up.
And that's FFF's playground. Up Academy is just there to play in it, and instead FFF comes with a win, right? Instead, devolving into chaos. But the heartbreaker there is C-Wave mistimed the self-destruct by a fraction of a second and exited the Wraith Walk before. He was trying to get the kill onto Riven before the remake, but just couldn't quite time it. Now, fast re-entry.
Up Academy are not waiting for a squat. Earthshatter, though, off the duplicate from Top Dragon. C-Wave is shut down in the middle of his Death Blossom. Top Dragon is going to get pressured out by that ult from Karon. And again, this is just all over the place, LaFon. Self-destruct up for Bebe, but he needs a miracle with it at this point to actually get Up Academy through. Does find BLX, but with Karon down, there's not much healing. Need to keep this momentum going forward, and the respawns are so much closer for FFF.
Oh, and Baby does not get the kill onto Mocha, so that is going to mean that the respawns have time now to get back in.
Oh, C-Wave in the back. Putting a lot of pressure on to clear, and that opens things up for the tanks to go down. Riven has to self-destruct and now is left out largely to dry. Clear coming back. She's got the Coalescence. This is insanity right now. How long have we been fighting for the last meter and a half of this second point? All right, finally, 25 seconds left.
And 25 seconds left, and Up Academy are looking at the absolute end of their playoff hopes here, Paul. They have just the Pulse Bomb. Dank does not have the Earthshatter yet. They can't walk in aggressively, but they need to. V's finding C-Wave, taking him down.
That's the opening. That's the opening they need. C-Wave, rather, trying to force the fade out of clear to get that stick, but no, can't quite get it done. Still 5 alive for FFF, and they got a minefield on the point. That takes out Bebe! No, now it's FFF in the driver's seat. Mocha is just running around the cart, displacing everyone. Up Academy, they can't put it together. And FFF will walk into 3rd place at the very least. They're going to go up against Team Chaser tomorrow in the lower bracket semifinals.
Oh, FFF, what theatrics. What absolute calm under pressure from First Fabulous Fighter. They live up to their name in many ways, but the fights they took were just a dance with death in a lot of those situations.
Let's break it down, LaFon. Their name, First. Yeah, they were taking the initiative in a lot of their defensive fights. Fabulous. I would call quite a few of those plays very fabulous. So those double self-destructs, the ridiculous work that Clear was putting in to keep her team alive. And Fighter, I mean, what word could possibly better describe that team that was just scrapping and brawling all over the place?
I think this is a case where we have to look at First Fabulous Fighter and say they were the better team. They deserve to be number 3 at the very least. And I mean, yeah, up against Team Chaser, they have their work cut out for them. Make no mistake. But you have to be worried about them. This is not a clear-cut, walk away with a victory in the lower finals. And for Team Chaser, I mean, I'm very excited for what that game is going to look like, because First Fabulous Fighter, they forced a game plan. They forced a game style, made the opposition play in it, and when it seemed hopeless, they still had the wherewithal to come out on top. I thought with V's going down that genuinely there was a place where Up Academy had the opportunity in that fight, but no, the coalescence from Clear, as you said, to close it out. And for First Fabulous Fighter, they get to take a breath at the end of the game. It's the absolute excitement as we get a quick look back at what our day has looked like and what a day it has been.
Look, these are 3-1s, but they are 2 3-1s that all 4 teams came to play for.
Yeah.
Right? I can't imagine that Up Academy leaves today happy, but I hope they're not too disappointed in themselves, because considering how their regular season went, they went very far in this bracket, right? They beat T1W in a dominant fashion. They had a great showing today against FFF. And now tomorrow, the ultimate day, the final day, Chaser versus FFF. And then Billy Gaming to play the winner. One team will cement themselves as the leader in China for this season, and the other two will go home just shy of that goal.
What a season we've had this season. Paul, you and I mean, we've had the chance to catch some very, very great games over this week so far. I mean, there's a case in Contenders China where we've had a team that is so far and away ahead of everybody else, right? I think this season has been hyper competitive at every facet of competition, right? We've seen play styles that have been wildly different. We've seen teams that have played different things, but at the end of the day, we've seen a region that has gotten much closer from top to bottom. And I think here in the playoffs bracket, we're seeing that, right? There was a conversation at the start of the season, as there always is in Contenders China, who is going to be the one that leads far ahead of everybody else. And I think we actually have a top 4 or top 5 that has a conversation to be able to win on the day against anybody here.
They're all within punching distance of each other, but only one can come out the heaviest hitter tomorrow, folks. Make sure that you are tuned in for the final, the lower bracket finals, and then also the grand finals tomorrow. That'll be Rich Rad and Kenobi taking you through it. I've finally drawn him out into the open, and he'll get to cast some phenomenal games.